Les Miserables in its first form was a shorter and different show. It opened at Le Palais des Sports in Paris in September 1980, directed by a French director called Robert Hossein, and lasted there for 100 shows in a 4,000-seater, which was a sports arena, because unfortunately we didn't have or couldn't find the kind of theater where it could have been held as a straight theater play. So it was a huge success, because in 100 shows there were 500,000 people who saw it. The show closed because of a previous booking by the Moscow State Circus, if I remember well, with something like 50,000 people wanting to see the show and who couldn't get tickets. And that's how it finished in Paris, until we met Cameron McIntosh 2 years later, who had never seen that show in Paris.
We were very disappointed because when the show stopped in Paris, because of course after we were alone together with the baby with us, you know, and we hope that somebody will have the show on once again. We were trying and waiting for, but as everything important in your life arrived, it was a mixture of will and chance.
A Hungarian director came into my office about 6 months after I'd opened Cats in London and handed me this album and said, look, this is Les Miserables. I think if you can cope with T.S. Eliot's Cats, maybe this novel would be something you'd be interested to do as a musical. And I thought, Les Miserables, it's a French musical, sounds like a contradiction in terms. And I was vaguely intrigued. I'd vaguely heard of it too, but didn't think much of it. But a few days later I was doing nothing at home, and I decided I'd put it on. And I remember that it was at 11:03 on a Thursday morning in my apartment, and by the fourth track I thought, my God, this is the most wonderful musical I've heard for years. I never originally had any idea of doing Les Miserables at the Barbican. When I heard it, my immediate impulse was that this was a piece for Trevor Nunn. Trevor made two very strong suggestions about doing Les Miserables, and one was that we did it first at the Barbican Theatre, because he felt that that rehearsal process would be invaluable to the creation of this show. And secondly, that his collaborator from Nicholas Nickleby, John Caird, do the show with him. And I'd just done Song and Dance with John Caird, so I knew and liked him very much. So both suggestions I pounced on with alacrity.
Well, Jean Valjean, the story is very simple. He's a man who is imprisoned for 19 years for stealing a loaf of bread, which, according to the law at the time, was a perfectly just thing, because he keeps trying to escape. And his struggle is the struggle of a potentially violent man to control the beast in himself and become good.
We've been incredibly lucky to have been blessed with some brilliant Jean Valjeans all the way around the world. Our original London and Broadway star, Con Wilkinson, the great Irish troubadour, was followed by a marvellous country and western singer, Gary Morris. And in Tel Aviv, marvellous Israeli cantor, Dudu Fisher, is currently wowing them, and it looks like he'll be playing Valjean indefinitely there. With all these wonderful performances all the way around the world, I felt it was time to capture some of these on one complete symphonic recording. The difficulty has been making the choice. The reason we're doing a symphonic recording grew out of my original thought of doing an Australian cast album, so that there would be one version which had every note in it, because the London and Broadway productions only have 85 minutes on it, whereas there's actually 2 hours and 40 minutes of music in Les Miserables, and as it's now succeeding beyond my wildest dreams, I thought there might be enough Les Mis freaks in the world to want to have every note of it.
Martin, it's a bit too fast. It's ba 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 da da wa boom bam, very heavy. Oh, that must be very heavy. It's too da 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 da. Ba da da ba da dee ba da da ba boo boo boom ba boom 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 ba 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 boom. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Meet the best innkeeper in town. As for the rest, all of them crooks, rooking the guests and cooking the books. Seldom do you see honest men like me, a gent of good intent, who's content to be master of the house, doling out the charm, ready with a handshake and an open palm. Tells a saucy tale, makes a little stir. Customers appreciate a bon vivant. Glad to do a friend a favour. It doesn't cost me to be nice, but nothing gets you nothing. Everything has got a little price. Master of the house, keeper of the zoo, ready to relieve them of a sou or two. Water in the wine, making up the weight, picking up their knickknacks when they can't see straight. Everybody loves a landlord, everybody's bosom friend. I do whatever pleases Jesus, but I bleed them in the end. Master of the house, quick to catch your eye, never was a passer by the passing by. Servant to the poor.
first of all, we decide, Alain and I, because in the middle of the dramatic story and very sad, we decide to turn the Thénardier into a kind of comic characters. It's not in the book. So we always thought that the Thénardier were going to arrive on stage to relax the audience, because it's a very heavy show from that point of view. So for Master of the House, it was a kind of song to drink. And I wanted that song heavy as an Australian beer.
Yeah, there is a very good reason the Thénardier are innkeepers anyway.
Yeah, so it was a very... something very heavy like that.
Residents are more than welcome. Bridal suite is occupied. Reasonable charges plus some little extras on the side. Charging for the loss, extra for the mice. 2% for looking in the mirror twice. Here a little slice, there a little cut. 3% for sleeping with the windows shut. When it comes to fixing prices, there are lots of tricks in those. How it all increases, all the bits and pieces. Jesus, it's amazing how it grows. Master of the house, with the catchy rhyme, never was the fault of the passing by. Servant to the poor, a butler to the great, company of philosopher and lifelong mate. Everybody's good companion, give him everything he's got. Dirty bunch of geezers, Jesus, what a sorry little lot.
I used to dream that I would meet a prince, but God Almighty, have you seen what's happened since? Master of the house isn't worth me splits. Comforter, philosopher, and lifelong shit. Cunning little brain, regular Voltaire. Thinks he's quite a lover, but there's not much there. What a cruel trick of nature, landing me with such a lout. God knows how I'd lasted living with this bastard of the house.
Master of the house,
Master and a half.
comforter, philosopher,
Don't make me laugh.
servant to the poor, butler to the great.
Hypocrite and toady and inebriate.
Everybody bless the landlord. Everybody bless his spouse. Everybody raise a glass. Everybody raise a glass to the master of the house.
What is on display on all the stages in the world where Les Miserables is on is a company, an ensemble, a group of actors who have been trained to be an ensemble and to think as a group, and to have agreed amongst themselves with the directors that they are to be representing on stage not just the characters they're playing, but what Victor Hugo is all about, what the musical is all about, what the novel is all about, so that when they address the audience on subjects that are to do with a choral response, whether it's a political or an emotional moment in the show, an audience should get the feeling that they are being spoken to authorially. I mean, from Victor Hugo's point of view.
Victor Hugo was the most famous man of his time. Victor Hugo has lived through an event that very few men have been living through their own life. He's been attending, witnessing, I mean, his own triumph, organized by the population of Paris. Him being at his balcony, because he was the highest and most respected political figure of his time. And he had his birthday, I think his 85th or 84th birthday, just 2 years before his death. And he was at his balcony on the avenue which became since Avenue Victor Hugo, witnessing the people of Paris paying him respect and homage just, you know, by coming under his balcony.
What did I know of Victor Hugo? Well, I'd read some of his works before. I'd read Les Miserables before. I think I read it when I was about 14 or 15, and it had a great impression on me. Little did I know then that I would be musicalizing it. I probably would have been horrified to hear that I'd been musicalizing it if I'd known then that such a thing was to happen.
Well, I was fortunate enough to be chosen to write the English version being the universal version now, because all other productions running around the world are based on the London production. The work that I did for Les Mis can be described by any terms other than direct translation. It's a term I absolutely reject. About a third of the piece might be described as translation of a kind, rough translation, following the line of the story was, of course, important to the project. Another third might be described as a rough adaptation, and the other third might be described as original material, because there are at least 6 or 7 songs now in the show that didn't exist in the original French production at all. Cole Porter once said that the only motivation he needed to write a musical was a phone call from a producer, and I agree with that practical approach. When the lyric writing assignment was offered to me on Les Miserables in January of '85, I was writing television criticism for the Daily Mail. I managed to take 6 months off from the paper because I knew I couldn't possibly do both. I retired to this very room where I'm sitting now, took the phone off the hook, metaphorically, and went to work. It was at this desk that the evil deed was done.
All I can say is that for me, there was just something about the music which said to me, this is great theatre music. I mean, I get sent lots and lots of musicals, and most of it shouldn't ever be on the stage, but the music of Les Miserables cried out to go on the stage, and in fact, my only knowledge of Les Miserables was really the famous Charles Laughton movie, and the music seemed to paint those pictures. It seemed to remind me of sequences from that movie. And that's the most important thing for me whenever I decide to do a musical. I've got to think, God, this is terrific, and actually sung and acted on a stage, it will be 10 times better.
For Little Cosette, I wanted to have a very simple melody, a sad melody, but at the same time fitting very well with the rest of the score, kind of operatic flavor. So that's why I started. It's very classical at the same time, but very easy for a child to be seen.
We cast an overseas production in exactly the same way as we did the original. The only advantage is we have a much more clearly defined knowledge of what we're looking for. And each production changes. the advantage of coming to somewhere like Vienna is that mostly there are not any other shows for the actors to compete for, and we try to get the best talents from all over the country to come up for the show. And there aren't many other shows like this, so it attracts people who would not normally get the chance to be in a show like this. The production also is incredibly popular. I mean, bearing in mind that there are only 5 million inhabitants in the entire country, I believe in the first 6 months, and it's a 700-seat theatre, 10% of the population have already been to see it.
En annan dag, ett annan lagnas blad, den endeløse veg til Golgata. De menn som trolig kjenner meg vil ganske sikkert prøve seg en gang til. Skal jeg kjære utan deg? Jeg har ikke levd for denne tiden en dag til.
I chose Oslo because they asked. Also, I'd been to see a local production of Cats, which was very successful there. They did that, and I didn't actually think it was as good as the original. So I said if they were interested in doing Les Miserables, that we would want to do a full London/Broadway production there, which they had never done, and no Scandinavian country had ever done anything on that scale. And so when they agreed to that, we decided to go there and do the first European production there.
Going to take a break for the next few moments. This intermission is your chance to thank our entire membership for bringing you programs like this one throughout the entire year. Give us a call and pledge your support as your thanks.
Good evening, I'm Jack Perkins. The music of Les Miserables is certainly stirring, one day more a showstopper. In fact, good place for us to stop the show, I hope. In our continuing efforts to bring theater to you, we are presenting two gems tonight. Les Miserables, stage by stage, the show you're watching now. And Barnum, starring Michael Crawford, the Phantom himself. That coming up later. Who can take credit for this great lineup? Well, it's the people in our acquisitions department who found the shows, of course, but more importantly, it is our members who paid for them. Here, thanks to member dollars. How can you become a patron of the arts? and get a little something extra in return? Midge Woolsey can tell you. Midge?
Thanks, Jack. Actually, we've got more than just a little something for the viewers who call in. If you join 13 at the $60 level, we'll send you one of these great T-shirts featuring that ubiquitous symbol of Les Mis. You can catch the performance in poly-cotton blend, cotton for comfort, and polyester to keep it from shrinking. It's one size fits all and one size for all, extra large. You can, if you can spring for $75, we'll send you the Broadway cast recording of Les Mis, a moving and memorable score. And if you're so inclined, a $150 pledge will get you the musical sensation on compact disc. Now, if this is your first time joining 13, let me tell you what you can get at the special introductory $40 level. There's our handy monthly program guide, a ticket to the arts, your discount ticket to many cultural institutions in our area, the 13 and a table in
Watch Festival of Programs will put you in the mood with that big band sound, the great pop favorites, and the king of swing himself. Big bands and jukebox giants, and they're only part of Festival 13. And if you join 13 right now, you'll receive a free cable connection or a free upgrade to a premium channel or an additional set. The time was never better to join 13 and help keep what matters in sight.
We have got a terrific group of volunteers here with us this evening at 13. I'd like to welcome them on board. We've got the Friends of 13, our loyal and faithful group, and the Metropolitan Life staffers. And I'd like to welcome those of you who have tuned in for a terrific evening of entertainment. We're counting on you, though, to come through with your pledges of support, whether it's $40, $60, $100, $1,000, whatever is right for you. We need your pledges of support in order to make another year's worth of quality programming a reality here on 13. Our goal during this break is that 250 of you will call and become members. Not a lot when you think about the thousands that are watching. Now, we've had projection goals all along, but we figured we'd share them with you now. Lots of people are goal-oriented, and we thought if we let you in on our goals, they'd become yours. Well, we'll report back on how well you're doing as we go. The phones are a little bit quiet. If you've been listening, if you've been thinking about it, now is the time to go to your phone and pledge your support. Back to you, Jack.
Thank you, Midge. We are pleased to have with us Michael McGuire. Now, Michael, if any of you saw the show in its first year and how long?
Year and 6 months.
Year and a half. You saw Michael in the role of Enjolras, the original Broadway production of Les Miserables. That was your Broadway debut, as I recall, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And what a debut it was, folks. It earned him the Tony, the Drama Desk, the Theater World Awards, right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to embarrass you by bringing that up. I hope it's okay.
No, it was great.
We're delighted to have you with us.
Well,
Michael.
thanks, Jack. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You know, one point that the director, John Caird, made, I found particularly interesting. As you may remember, he noted that what is really on display in Les Miserables is the company, the ensemble, the group of actors who work together as a group. Well, I think of that as an allusion to 13, a partnership of people here at 13 working in concert with those of you at home. That's 13 at its best. Our wonderful viewers watching and supporting 13, and we here at the station providing you with a wide array of shows.
Well, Jack, I've got an illusion of my own. You know, the programs that 13 airs represent a kind of ensemble performance of their own. Now, you probably have your own show or favorite kind of show. Mine happens to be Nature and the McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour. I'm actually quite fond of Sesame Street. But 13 serves a very diverse group, and the programs here reflect that. Now, 13 does its best to provide a wide variety of shows, be they drama, music, science, whatever. But as diverse as they may be, the net effect is quality television.
Hi, I'm Robert Morse, and for the past few months I've been portraying Truman Capote on Broadway. And it's been a real challenge to conjure up his often chaotic life and times, and the colorful assortment of real-life characters that filled it. I weave a whole world on stage each night, and I rely on a great many talented people who work diligently behind the scenes. Their contributions are an unseen but indispensable part of my performance, just as yours are here. Mounting a theatrical production is a collective effort, And the same holds true for this station. 13 is a creative collaboration, and it works only as well as we want it to work. And I'm here to encourage each and every one of you to help this station stay in top form. Please call in a pledge right now and join the cast of characters who play a vital role in keeping 13 a great place to visit all year long. Please call. Thanks.
You know, you may find this hard to believe, but when Les Mis first opened in London, the critics canned it unmercifully. It was not supposed to be a success. Now, happily, no one told the audiences not to enjoy it. 13, too, had its own odds to overcome. After waiting 10 years for a VHF channel, what 13 finally did broadcast on its first night was, how shall I put this, Jack, lacking in appeal.
Oh.
It was a test pattern.
Oh.
You know those things I have late at night when you fall asleep?
That was it.
It lasted 30 minutes. Now, you might say 13 had nowhere to go but up, and so they did. And speaking of overcoming odds, all of us here would love it if all of you wonderful people at home would overcome that inertia that keeps you in your seats. Reach over and pick up that phone. There's no good reason for not joining. Midge?
Thanks, Michael. You know, you can join at any level. If you've never belonged before, you can take advantage of our $40 first-time membership. Have $60 to give to our cause? Then you can get this great Les Mis t-shirt. A pledge of $75 means we'll send you the music of Les Mis on cassette, and a generous pledge of $150 will entitle you to the compact disc version. Now, one last very important piece of business, listen very carefully, we're having a gold Movado watch giveaway. For the rest of the drive, each and every night, there'll be 2 winners, and everyone who calls in is eligible to win. Here's how it works. You can make a pledge at any level to either our 212 or our 800 number. Just give us your name and address, and that's all it takes. We'll throw all the names into a barrel or some such container and pull 2 out. We'll announce the winners after Barnum, and you can pledge as often as you like. The more entries you put in, the better your chances are. Now, if you don't want to pledge, that's okay too. We just ask that you call our 212 number, and please, please wait until the show starts so you don't tie up the phone lines for people who are trying to make a pledge. Now, this offer is void where prohibited. The phones, they're doing fairly well, but I personally would like to see them do a lot better. You know, I take this very seriously because these 2 programs this evening come from my department, the acquisitions department, and I saw what kind of work it took, and as a matter of fact, these are 2 of the very most expensive programs that we have purchased recently. We took a risk because we thought that the audience would be out there. We thought that people would enjoy watching the shows. The only way that we can be sure is by having you go to the telephone and make a pledge of support. So please let us know that this is the kind of program that you'd like to see here on 13. Now take a look at this special offer for members only.
For members only, 2 special spring events. Choose an evening of French food and wine sponsored by Frederick Wildman & Sons on Friday, April 6th at the French Consulate. Learn about wines from the Burgundy and Rhone regions and bid on rare vintages. But if tennis is your game, be courtside Saturday, May 19th for an afternoon of celebrity tennis at the Westside Tennis Club in Forest Hills. The honored guest, Arthur Ashe. Each event $100 per person, but call now.
I should add, you know, we're offering the original cast album of Les Mis for gifts tonight. I should mention that Michael McGuire sings on that original cast album.
I sing loudly on it, too.
Loudly and well.
So you're getting your money's worth.
Well, call and ask for either the CD or the tape of the original cast album, and Michael will especially appreciate it, and you will appreciate it also. Now, we're about to get back to our show, but first we'd like to show you one more thing, and that is a look at what we have lined up for you on Saturday.
Dust off those dancing shoes. 13's going to put you in the mood this Saturday night. The joint starts jumping at 6 with the Glenn Miller Band reunion. Then it's an all-new musical bash with those fabulous stars that kept us feeding that jukebox Saturday night. And make way for the king of swing himself, as Benny Goodman says, let's dance. We'll be singing and swinging Saturday starting at 6, followed by a special encore so you can dance till dawn. All part of our exciting Festival 13. If you prefer, mail your check to 13, Box 1313, New York, New York, 10101.
I'm particularly fond of the Rock Theatre in Budapest because I think they're very brave and they're very adventurous, and I think that they're the only Eastern Bloc country that has a modern rock theatre as an entity in itself, and they write a lot of their own rock shows, and they're terribly interested and have been for several years in doing the sort of musicals which are evolving in the West. And I've seen Jesus Christ Superstar and Evita there, and I got to know them very well, and they were very, very keen, and one of the first people to ask us to do Les Miserables. And they, I discovered, had a summer festival, which was very intriguing for us, where they were going to start the show, where there's a 6,500-seater auditorium, and they were going to do it with a cast of 150 and a huge orchestra, and we, quite frankly, couldn't wait to get on the plane to see what they would do with it. It was also the very first production that wasn't like ours, and I was delighted that they had such a triumph with it. The Summer Theatre is a stadium, the Rake Stadium, in front of the most fabulous cathedral, where they build a stage, and so you have a most dramatic backdrop, which they illuminate, and they do it late at night, and have a wonderful sound system. And it has a great sense of the epic. It's sort of Budapest's version of doing it in a Greek amphitheatre.
I smell women, smell them in the air. Think I'll drop my anchor in that harbor over there. Lovely ladies, smell them through the smoke. 7 days at sea can make you hungry for a poke. Even stokers need a little soak.
Ladies waiting for a bite, waiting for the customers who only come at night. Lovely ladies ready for the call, standing up or lying down or any way at all. Bargain prices up against the wall. Lovely ladies waiting in the dark, ready for a thick one or a quick one in the park.
Long time, short time, anytime, my dear. Cost a little extra if you want to take a year.
Quick and cheap is underneath the pier.
Szép hosszú sejmeses dús. Ha eladnád, 2 frankot kidobnék rá. Hadd vágyjam már, ne bántson, engedjen el. Túl kevés rá, legyen hát 10 frank az ár. Gondold meg jól, úgy kell a pénz, jól gondold át. Nincs másom már, fizetnem kell 10 franktán még, megment Cosette.
Lovely Ladies is a scene which came after a very sad song, which is I Dreamed a Dream, J'avais rêvé d'une autre vie in French at that time. And we were trying to find a way not to have another difficult, sad moment, because it was already 15 minutes that the show had started, having at the same time some exciting scene, some exciting musical moment with a complete different mood, and at the same time not being funny, because there was nothing to be funny about, because Fantine was going to die in the next 5 minutes. Or 10 minutes, and she was going to sell her hair, and she was going to sell her teeth, and she was going to sell herself to end it.
You know, when people are very talented, after 5 minutes you completely forget a foreign language, because we saw it in Japanese, in Hebrew, and it is very fast we forget completely the foreign language, and as it's much better for us to have a musical in the language of the country, you know, as they used to do before with the opera. For instance, Puccini opera was always in the language of the country, in French, in France, in Spanish, and Puccini wanted, because he wanted people to understand the lyrics.
Les Miserables presented a couple of enormous challenges. One was that we could find ways of doing staging that were very much like Nickleby. But in some ways, there was a difference. There was this one huge requirement, which it was that in the second act, the company had to build a barricade on stage, and there had to be 2/3 of the second act had to take place on this barricade. And it had to be very real, and it had to be very large. I mean, it's a staging object, a sculptural object. This is the barricade. It's really just a conglomeration of wooden objects. It basically is in two pieces that are driven across the stage and tilt 45 degrees. They don't look as if they're going to tilt when you first see them. I suppose that's the reason people find them so dramatic, is the scale of them and the fact that they move laterally and then, as it were, bend their backs and fall down to the ground. It makes a wonderful dramatic moment, something that you can only do once or twice in any show.
The whole idea of revolution is a very, very difficult one, because of course we are dealing with a student insurrection of 1832 and not the French Revolution. And the French Revolution was 40 years before that, over 40 years before. And so one of our first tasks was to try to disentangle an audience's perception of revolution, to get to stop them thinking automatically that we were dealing with the French Revolution of Tale of Two Cities and 1789. Victor Hugo himself doesn't do that very well in the novel. He makes a lot of assumptions. The reader of the novel knew that at the time when these insurrections were happening in Paris, life was appalling for the vast majority of the population. So Hugo didn't need to underline that part of it.
I believe that within almost a week, the first printing was sold out, and they had to keep reprinting it. And in fact, when we were opening the show in Washington, just before we did the Broadway tryout, we discovered that because the American Civil War was taking place more or less at the same time as the novel came out, I think within 2 years, and all Robert E. Lee, the Confederate soldiers, had a copy in their saddlebags of Les Miserables, and in fact, to the point, his soldiers were rechristened Les Miserables, because it was the novel which is what really represented everything that they were fighting for.
Paris on the Barricade has many hesitations. He's in love with Cosette on one side and would like to go and see her because he doesn't know what's going to happen to him and to their love. And on the other hand, he's Enjolras' best friend, and he's one of the fighters on the barricade. So he decides at the end of Act 1 to stay on the barricade, and because that's where his duty is. But you must understand, this is a gang of young students having drinks and fighting, you know, like around a fire camp. It's not really a war. He hires Eponine to get a message to Cosette so that she knows where he is. In fact, Valjean gets the message, doesn't show it to Cosette, and comes himself to the barricade, where he prefers to die rather than to lose his adopted daughter, Cosette. Valjean and Marius were the only two survivors on the barricade when the barricade fell. And Valjean has saved Marius by carrying him on his back to liberty, to freedom through Paris sewers. He finally has coped with the idea for Marius becoming his son-in-law, and the two of them are married, and everyone seems to be very happy, except that Valjean then decides to tell the truth to Marius about his past, which means to say that he used to be a convict, that he has been, his real name is Jean Valjean, and he was a convict in the past. And he decides that he wants to leave them against Marius' wishes. He leaves the house. In fact, he leaves to go and die on his own. During the wedding, which he doesn't attend, arrives Thénardier, who in fact in the sewers, has reconverted himself into someone who was stealing rings and gold and tooth and anything from the people who were dying during the barricade time. And he had taken that ring from Marius' finger. And at the wedding, he comes back, shows the ring to Marius in order to try to sell it to him. But Marius recognizes the ring, and doing so, understand that Jean Valjean has been his savior on the barricade.
Unnskyld meg, monsieur, du trenger ikke lenger nå. Gir en grunn til deg jeg har, mer i havens konge, mer i bomsens bank. Her med slam og kloakkhus er fars beste far. Ja, lukta gir en salig rus. Ja, noen må jo gjøre rent igjen. Likisme på gater, lovorden snudd opp ned. Byen må jo ha valsansvarsmenn. Gjelder søppel er jeg med. For en gyllen ring, en lekker liten ting. Synd å la han ligge, ja det ville vært leit. Takk for alt som jeg får ta, for ei ferdig ur. Ja, du har et tur. Ei kort liv er en uting, men ei kort og godt er greit. Bare klokka tikka bra. Ja, noen må jo få vekk ruske her. Raske skal ikke jordas, sånn at nye liv får gro. Men det trengs litt senere til det vær. Og ei smerper bort av blod. For ei vær er en hund ikke en hund. For ei drøm, for en bit av ei kvein. For Gud i sin himmel, han gjør seg et pass. For han er likedan som han er. Jeg ser mot himmelen, alt jeg ser der, er månen som glår på meg. Ei
It opened at the Barbican Theatre on, I think, October the 7th, 1985. And it was an extraordinarily tense opening because it's an enormously long show, and we ended up with only having about 7 previews. And there were masses of sequence that had to be telescoped after a 10-week rehearsal period. But it was, in the end, I believe, exactly the right place for Les Miserables to have been done, because I think the development of the material needed that unique contribution that a great subsidized company can give you in the way that people approach the work, as opposed to just rehearsing in a rehearsal room for a commercial show. But it was a unique thing in that the arrangement between myself and the Royal Shakespeare Company was such that all my top staff people who were working on a musical worked at the RSC or with the RSC. And what we got, I think, out of the RSC was the art, and what we put into the RSC was the expertise, because it could never be treated like the RSC's fun end-of-term musical. It had to have all the disciplines of a full-scale musical stroke opera. And I think that's why it's worked.
The critical response was very, very interesting. Standing in this very conservatory above the Barbican, we had our first night party, and it was a tumultuous occasion. Everybody was very, very happy, and there was a buzz in the air. The audience and actors and entrepreneurs alike had all felt that we had achieved something very remarkable, very special, fresh, new. Nothing had happened, anything like it before. We had just had an absolutely massive standing ovation at the end of the show, and we were right up in the air. So we were not prepared for the next day, when we were manifestly dumped on by the British critics, most of them. And it was a very interesting response, because the posh papers said that we had trivialized one of the greatest works of Western literature, that great novels like Les Miserables were not to be tinkered with, and they were not the proper subject for musicalization. The tabloids agreed between themselves that we had perpetrated a gloomy, dull, endless evening, which wasn't what musicals were about at all. Musicals should be light and frothy and frivolous evenings that sent everybody away happy and humming the tunes. So we fell about as resoundingly and noisily between two stools as any theatre company can ever have done. The audience response, on the other hand, continued to be ovationary.
We opened at the Barbican with a slightly below average advance, which was less than a third of the booking period for the 8 weeks we were there, than they would normally have for any major new Shakespeare in the autumn season. And which made me laugh when all the critics wrote, you know, when they didn't like it, that this was an obvious commercial ploy of the RSC. How dare they sell their birthright with doing this obviously commercial musical, which it wasn't.
So we had a few very nervous days when we were deeply worried about our transfer chances. And Cameron Mackintosh went around looking white as a sheet, wondering how many of his houses to mortgage in order to pay for the transfer. And in the end, well, just a few days later, it became absolutely apparent that the audiences were disagreeing with the critics.
I remember having my traditional post-opening lunch, and we all arrived at 12:30, and the candles had become very black indeed on the table. And I thought, I'll get the worst of it out of the way. I will ring the box office and find out just how badly we're doing after these dreadful notices. And I got through eventually, and they said, how on earth did you get through? We'd just had the biggest day in the history of the Barbican and sold 5,000 tickets in the first 3 hours. And that was the first real indication I had that Les Miserables was going to be a popular success and not one made by the critics. In fact, history was repeating itself with the birth of the original novel. When the show went to America, we had, in fact, to sell it twice. We had to sell it once in Washington at the Opera House, where it was going for 8 weeks before we opened on Broadway in March '87. And we also obviously had to pick up an advance in Broadway. The main way that we did that was to complement the word of mouth that was already coming over and the very good notices that we'd received in things like Time and Newsweek and the New York Times, by putting together a film which was just a 6-minute sort of dip into the story of Les Miserables. We just used stills from the London production and some of the very evocative music. And we made this film and showed it to the group sales representatives, both in Washington and New York. And that was one of the main reasons that we were able to build up such an impregnable advance. I mean, it did open with, at the time, the biggest advance that Broadway had ever had, and I was delighted that it was eclipsed by Phantom.
The people singing the song of angry men. It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drums, there is a life about to start when tomorrow comes. Will you join in our crusade? Who will be strong and stand with me? Beyond the barricade, is there a world you long to see? Then join in the fight that will give you the right to be free. Do you hear the people singing the song of angry men? It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drums, there is a life about to start when tomorrow comes. Will you give all you can give so that our banner may advance? Some will fall and some will live. Will you stand up and take your chance? The blood of the martyrs will water the meadows of France. Do you hear the people singing the song of angry men? It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drums, there is a life about to start when tomorrow comes.
Thank you, Cameron.
I was thrilled with it, and I mean, it was an amazing reception. It's extraordinary here because you never expect how long the reaction is going to go on at the end, and I think it's because it's an opera town, isn't it, Peter?
Yes, I know the audience in Vienna, and it was extremely, because it's not a tradition to have standing ovations for such a long time, and the bravos, and so I think it's a big success.
Well, they tell me that the Viennese audience are polite and quiet, but they didn't represent that tonight at all. It must have gone on for 10, 15 minutes. Quite incredible.
It seems it's going to carry on around the world. There are at least another 15 productions planned over the next 2 to 3 years, and in 3 years' time we start making what I hope will be a very exciting movie musical of it. So I'm afraid the world's going to be a miserable place for a long time to come.
Les Miserables has to be one of the greatest stories in the world ever. And it's just put together so well. Everybody likes a good cry, and this is it. It's a wonderful show.
I think in Jean Valjean, everybody can be involved in Jean Valjean, because Jean Valjean is a part of what's good in you. And at the same time, Javert is a part of the worst that you have in yourself. And in your heart, you have everybody, you know. You have Cosette, too, because sometimes you can feel like a little Cosette. You have the Thénardier, too. That's the magic of Victor Hugo.
The amazing thing is to see all these people in all these countries, which are 35 countries in the world where the novel is in sale, and now 13 where the musical is acclaimed, receive exactly at the same moments, give the same reactions, receive the same joy, the same laughter, or the same sadness at exactly the same moments. This is kind of genius, which I hope we have been able to spell out. But of course, that was his.
The magic in Les Miserables, I think, will always be personal. I think the only reason people go to see anything on this scale is because it's different. I think the reason people are going in so many droves and going so often to see it again is because it is very rare in popular entertainment to have something both entertaining, thrilling, and moving. And it's actually, you come out of the theatre feeling that you've learnt something about yourself and about your fellow man. And that's without being pretentious. The show isn't pretentious. I think the brilliant job Alan and Claude Michel have done is to write a truly popular work which never once betrays its original source material. And I believe if Victor Hugo saw it, he'd be very proud of it.
All of 13's members are proud to have been able to bring you this extraordinary event. Their pooled contributions and membership dollars over the years have brought the sights and sounds and thrills of Broadway into your home this evening. It's the hope of all those members, and of 13 itself, that you'll take a moment of your time before the curtain goes up on the musical Barnum to give us a call and add some dollars of your own for more exciting nights like this one throughout the coming year. In just a few days, this, the most critical fundraising drive of the year, will have come and gone. Its final success or failure will depend on what you do in just a moment from now. Should you decide to call us with a membership pledge or a pledge of whatever you think you can afford, then this drive can be counted a success. All of our goals will be reached, and you'll be guaranteed one of the most exciting broadcast years 13 has ever presented. So think about that as these credits roll by, and then give us a call and pledge your support to this station of yours and to the members themselves who give and give to keep this station alive.
Nice to hear a success story, especially when one is made up of so much hard work, so much talent, perseverance. And from the beginning, putting Les Miserables to music sounded like a good idea, perhaps, but a very risky one. In one of the reviews that came out when Les Miserables came to Broadway, the lyricist, Alain Boublil, talked about his eagerness and his reluctance. He said, ask any Frenchman who the most important writer is, and they'll say, Victor Hugo. He said, every town in France has a Victor Hugo street. Victor Hugo is a part of the indelible consciousness of France. So why was he nervous about the whole idea? Well, because it wasn't going to be easy, and it could fail awfully. Not going to be easy, could fail. But it seemed like something people would be receptive to. Well, to me, that sounds like 13. When this station started back in 1962, there was no book to refer to either.
That's right, Jack. 13's come a long way. We may not be a hit around the world like Les Mis, but we are a hit around the country. Nearly half of the programs on public television across the United States come from 13. But let's get back to the matters at hand. You want to hear what premiums we've got for you, and I want to tell you. If you join at the $60 level, we'll send you this terrific tea. It's extra large and a cotton poly blend to keep our little waif from getting any littler. With a $75 pledge, we'll send you the magnificent music of Les Mis on cassette. And if you join us with a pledge of $150, you'll get the score on CD. As a matter of fact, our guest tonight, Michael McGuire, is featured on this recording. Now, if you've never belonged to 13 before, we have a newcomer special. Make a pledge of $40 and you'll receive our monthly program guide, a ticket to the arts, and a super cable offer. You can get a free cable installation, or if you already have cable, we'll extend your service to a second set. Or you can get a premium channel installed. Your choice. Now, this offer is good on standard cable connections in cable serviceable areas from participating companies only. And of course, no membership offer is complete without the 13 tote bag. Jack?
Thanks, Midge. Michael McGuire, who waved the flag in the original Broadway production of Les Miserables, is waving the flag for us tonight. We're delighted. We need 200 pledges this break. Now, you were telling me earlier, Michael, that your favorite shows are, and you said McNeil Lehrer, and you said all the proper things, right. But in fact, you told me off camera that your very favorite of all shows on 13 is...
My favorite show is, well, one of my favorite shows is Sesame Street.
Now, you told me your favorite show is Sesame Street.
I'm fond of news programs, and Kermit, the Sesame Street News is one of the best news programs.
Right?
That's right.
And you don't have any children.
No, I don't have any kids. No. I just love Sesame Street. It's a great show.
Sit there by yourself in front of the set watching.
And laugh, yeah. I have a great time.
You know, it really is. I bet there are other adults like you who won't admit it, but who...
Well, I think it's a two-pronged humor, and they're appealing to kids. I've learned how to count to 5 in a myriad of ways. It's an incredible show.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm so glad we could have done that for you, Michael.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I'm a member of 13.
Why should other people? And you have a feeling for what it takes to get someone involved in this station, because you are a member. You have given for years. Well, what does it take to get these folks?
Well, it's interesting. I can remember a number of times when I'm sitting here during this period of the year when they're having their pledge week, and I'm just like you folks at home. I'm sitting there and watching the show and going, oh, that's very nice. It's time to get a drink during the break here. Let's say, honey, get me a soda, would you? And it's so easy to sit there and think, gosh, what do these people mean? I mean, there's always somebody that's saying, we've got to have your money. We need you to make a pledge right now. If you don't help us, we're going to go under. Well, now that I'm here, I realize that if we don't get your money, we're going to go under. We need your help, folks. This station is all these people volunteering their time and labor, and all we're asking you to do is take just a few minutes, a small amount of money, any amount that you can afford, but even $50. All you have to do is write a 5 and a 0 on a check, send it into us,
2 zeros.
and we're happy. 2 zeros, Jack is suggesting.
3 zeros.
There you go, keep adding those zeros.
Yeah, around here, a zero is not nothing. Okay, we want to continue to provide the variety that we do on 13. Shows like the one we've just seen. And I was fascinated in this show by Cameron McIntosh's tidbit about Americana, that Robert E. Lee's soldiers were known as Les Miserables. Apparently they carried around the Victor Hugo Classic in their saddlebags. You never know what you're going to learn on 13. American history from a Brit in a documentary about a musical. Hey, we've got all bases covered, folks.
We do indeed, Jack. We pride ourselves on the diversity of our programs and the diversity of our members. Whether you're interested in drama, music, news, documentaries, or a little bit of everything, you can find it here on 13. But you may not continue to find it here unless you pitch in. Earlier in the show, Cole Porter was quoted as saying that a phone call from a producer was the only motivation he needed to write a musical. Well, right now, the best motivation we could get would be a phone call from you. Join 13. Your membership means a lot.
To keep what matters in sight, keep your eye on the numbers.
For nature, 4,219. For the News Hour, 7,126. For Nova, 6,317. For Sesame Street,
That's how many paid-up memberships it takes for 13 to bring you a season of each of those favorite series. How do we do it?
400.
One by one, starting with you.
For Wonder.
Join us now.
3021.
You know, Festival 13 is a great place to be for music lovers. Now, I was looking over a program guide just a few minutes ago, and I saw everything from big bands to Mozart to Broadway. And since one of the roles I've played in the past was Billy Bigelow in Carousel, this Sunday's lineup caught my eye because 13 is presenting a whole evening with Richard Rodgers. 2 shows, as a matter of fact. One on his partnership with Oscar Hammerstein, and this one on the composer's life and private work.
I do hear a waltz.
He created the music we love through his own love of music. Richard Rodgers. Shirley Jones hosts a tribute to the life and work of one of America's greatest composers. The music of Richard Rodgers, next time on Great Performances.
Bless my homeland forever.
We have a very special group with us this evening answering the phones, the Friends of 13. And standing by with me here this evening is Elaine Conway, the president of the Friends of 13. Welcome, Elaine.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the Friends.
The Friends of 13 are a group of volunteers from New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, the tri-state area. The Friends are more than members of the station because they get involved with activities and projects in their local community. And these activities help raise additional funds for 13. A group of citizens who truly love public television and wanted to do something to help began the Friends organization over 25 years ago. We are almost as old as the station. Since that time, the Friends have had numerous activities, which include lectures on community concerns, various kinds of social events, art and antique shows, and several events in Central Park when it inevitably rained.
But no doubt it was a successful event.
But of course.
Why did the Friends initially begin?
Well, the Friends try to broaden the base of support of 13 supporters, and they invite people to become contributors and supporters of the station. A friend is informed liaison between the public and the station, because after all, we believe that the Channel 13 is the best. Most of us only watch 13, and we want to do everything in our power to keep it on the air. Many of these people here are friends of the station. And please, everyone, please call, because they're here to work, and we've got to keep them busy.
Well, Elaine, it's a pleasure having you here with us this evening. A very special group. We're very lucky to have them here, and as Elaine said, we do need you to call in, keep these folks busy, make them feel as though their time was well spent. Now back to you, Jack.
And of course, the most important point is that your time be well spent, and where better than here at 13. Now, I would ask you to pay attention to a special number we will put up on the screen right now. This is the number for the Patron Circle, 1-212-560-2828. The Patron Circle represents a vital group of our audience, a very important group. Individuals who value the importance of public television and are willing to support it generously, are able to support it generously. If you would like to make a $1,000 pledge to 13, I would encourage you to do so now. Our volunteers waiting to take your call at the special number, waiting to welcome you to the Patron Circle.
I think that it's very important that people recognize that in addition to the immediate needs that some of our fellow New Yorkers have for shelter and clothing and food, there's a general need in the society for nourishment for the spirit and the intellect. And I believe very strongly that 13 is one of the institutions that satisfies that need. And if you're fortunate enough to be in a position to lend your support to such institutions, I would strongly urge you to join the Patron Circle and see just what a force for good this station is.
Now, thanks to our guest, Michael McGuire, for coming in and pitching with us tonight. Especially good of you, Michael, I know, because of what we did to you several years ago.
Which was?
This man joined 13 for the first time several years ago, was due a premium, and because of an oversight here that we greatly, profoundly regret, never got it. Well, I have been asked to make that right. I want to present you the CD of the original Broadway cast of Les Miserables.
Well, thank you.
But I know you don't have a CD player. And you may have already heard the music anyhow. So here you are. Hope it never rains on
My
your
own
parade,
13
Michael.
umbrella. Oh, gosh.
Thank
Well, this
you.
is great. This is a wonderful gift. This is all due. I didn't receive this because there was a malfunction in the computer system, which has been totally clarified. So all of you folks out there, when you call and give your, what is it, $75 pledge? What's the pledge? $50 pledge. You get an umbrella. Now think about it. This is a $20, $25, $30 umbrella. You've got to spend that much money anyway. If you give a $50 gift to Channel 13, we'll send you one of these umbrellas. That's cost effectiveness right there. Folks, you're getting bang for your buck. Send us some money. Thank you.
Okay. Did you ever sell those little things that dice and vegetables in the? No. Midge.
All right, if you're tuning in for Barnum, it's coming up in just a moment. But right now, I've got to get just a little bit serious with you. We'd like to hear more phones ring. That is the bottom line. As I mentioned earlier, Les Mis, the Les Mis Special, and Barnum are two programs that come from my department, the acquisitions department. And when we sat down together and tried to think of the kinds of programs that might appeal to you, these two programs came to mind. And frankly, they were very costly. We paid almost the most we've ever paid for any given program because we thought that there was an audience out there. And now you've got to come through for us and let us know that you're out there and that you're watching and that you'd like to see more of this kind of programming here on 13, because we can't say this enough. This is the time of year when we make program decisions for the coming year. We make them with you in mind. At the end of the drive, we tally the votes, the telephone calls, and we add up the pledges, and we get together and we say, what kinds of programs can we afford for the coming year? What kinds of programs is there an interest out there across the tri-state area for? So if this kind of program particularly appeals to you, now is the time to give us a call with your pledge of support. We're not asking you to break your budget. We're simply asking you to chip in, whether it's $40, $50, $60, $100, $1,000, whatever's right for you. Now, we do have a very special offer this evening. It will be ongoing throughout the pledge drive. Tonight, we're going to give away 2 Movado watches. The rules, there'll be 2 winners a night. Everyone who calls in is eligible to win. All you have to do is tell the volunteer your name and address. You don't even have to make a pledge to enter, but if you're not going to make a pledge, please call our 212 number to enter, and please wait until Barnum starts so you don't tie up the lines for people who are trying to pledge. We'll announce the winners at the end of the program. All right, it's time for Barnum. You've all been waiting. We've all been waiting. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. And think about it. Is this the kind of program that you want to see more of here on 13? If so, give us a call. We're counting on you.
If you prefer, mail your check to 13, Box 1313, New York, New York, 10101.
the name, P.T. Barnum. And I want to tell you that tonight on this stage, I'm going to show you every sight and wonder that name stands for, including Jumbo, the largest elephant in the world, the amazing great white whale from Labrador, General Tom Thumb, only 25 inches and toed a crown, Joyce Heth, the oldest woman alive, and the rarest and most beautiful bird in captivity, the Swedish nightingale, plus a cast of hundreds. No, thousands, including marching bands, standing bands, tumbling bands, flying bands, bands of every size, shape, and description. And here they are. No. I know what you're thinking. You don't see any nightingales or flying bands or 25-inch men. But like I told you, Barnum's the name and humbug's my game. Wait a minute, where are you going? Home. Home? But I have a point of view to expound, defending the noble art of humbug.
Which I happen to be in disagreement with, as it's no more than a shoddy defense of flim-flam, so it doesn't behove me to stick around.
Respect for the speaker, madam, requires that you listen while he sets forth his convictions.
And respect for my own convictions requires me to set forth, which I am doing.
All right, then go. Go. Isolated dissent can hardly deter me. One small voice can quite easily be ignored.
Good day, Mr. Barnum.
Of course, it doesn't help any if that one small voice happens to belong to his wife. Charity Barnum, I'll have a kiss before you leave.
With pleasure, Mr. Barnum. You may not make much sense, but you're beautiful.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the main ring, the fight to the finish struggle of humbug versus truth, flim-flam versus fact, Mr. Phineas Taylor Barnum versus his good wife, Charity. An American pageant featuring stirring music, thrilling spectacles, hilarious clowns, and savage jungle beats. But first, presenting Mr. Barnum himself on an opening bit of philosophical folderol, Mr. Barnum.
Now, the fact is, my wife is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You give her a mess of hard fat, she's happy as a clam. Serve her up a little fancy, she turns up her nose like it was yesterday's fish. And I bet she's not the only one here tonight. But whether you end up thinking that humbug is a blessing or a curse, you're still going to buy it. Why? Because every 60 seconds in this world, a delightful phenomenon takes place which absolutely guarantees it. There is a sucker born every minute. He's kind that second-hand sweets to the top like dandelions. Up they pop, their ears so big, their eyes so wide, and though I feed him bona fide baloney with no truth in it, why, you can bet I'll find some room to buy my corn, 'cause there's a sure as shooting sucker born a minute, and I'm referring to the minute you was born. Aha! Sir! He's blessed hour, bring 60 of them. Each time that wooden cuckoo shows his face, another sucker takes his place, plunks his quarter on the line to buy my brand of genuine malarkey. God bless and love him, but don't feel sad or huffing mad or cause a scene, 'cause there's a sure as shooting sucker born a minute. But man, you might have been the minute in between. If I allow that right here in my hands, the smallest living human man, the sight of that is surely worth a dime. If I present an educated pooch who's trained to dance the hoochie cooch, what better way to waste a bit of time? If I imported monumental cost a lady fair whose head was lost while crossing railroad tracks to fix some zinnias, who has no ears or eyes or nose and wears pink tights instead of clothes, if that ain't worth a buck, my name ain't Phineas. I just say that's hogwash, well, who cares? You buy my hogwash long as there's a sucker for every minute. He's kind that second-hand sweeps to the top like dandelions. Up they pop. He is so big, eyes so wide, and though my tail is bona fide baloney, just let me spit it. There ain't no man who can resist me, wait and see. 'Cause they're a sure as shooting sucker born a minute. And friends, the biggest one, excluding none, is
Here it is in Mr. Webster's dictionary, Taylor. Humbug, something designed to deceive or mislead.
See, that's what comes of marrying a school teacher. They go right to the books. Cherry, I'm talking about the kind of humbug them Pilgrim fathers sold themselves when they set sail on the Mayflower. The belief in rosy possibilities, the dream, Cherry.
just one thing, Taylor.
Uh-huh.
This lady with no nose.
Uh-huh.
How does she smell?
Awful. Just awful.
Mr. Webster also gives a nice synonym for humbug, lies.
Oh, Jerry.
Oh, but don't give up, Taylor. The evening's young. You've still got some rosy possibilities.
And the barring humble beginnings. P.T. Barnum in his first appearance in the main tent turns old into gold quicker than you can say. George Washington. I'm telling you, they came by the thousands in Philadelphia, Mr. Barnum. Now, here's all the papers you'll need. Birth certificate, bill of sale, and writs and testimony. Proven beyond the shadow of a doubt that on June 15th, Joyce Heth will be 160 years old.
Yeah, well, she better be, Mr. Lyman. It's taken every last cent I've got to buy this contract. But from now on, P.T. Barnum presents Joyce Heth, the oldest woman in the world.
She'll make you a fortune, Mr. Barnum. Just remember, Philadelphia!
All right, Joyce, we better get to work if we're going to eat tonight. All right, step right up and see her, folks. Joyce Heth, the oldest woman in the world. There she is, lady. Now 25 cents sees your place at the front of the line here. All right, come on now. Who's going to be the first customer of the day? Lady. Hey, you're not as young as you used to be. This lady here, she'll make you feel like a spring chicken is what you do. Oh! You're flat, Joyce, you're flat. Sir, all alone, nowhere to go. You're flat, woman, you're flat. Up a bit. No, sit down. Sir, you like older women? Come on, this act can't last forever. She could be gone next week. Joyce! I don't understand it. They came by the thousands in Philadelphia.
And walked by the thousands. You've been ahead, Mr. Barnum.
Oh.
Anyway, what's so special about an old lady? A young lady now, well, that's different. If you'd have had me up here 140 years ago, they would have come all right.
What did you say?
I said, what's so special about an old lady?
No. You said 140 years ago? George Washington.
Mr. Barnum, what you looking at?
I'm looking at a nanny a long time ago. She's got a little baby boy bouncing on her knee. George Washington.
But I don't know no people named Washington.
George Washington, the father of our country?
But I never tended George Washington.
Joyce! That sidewalk looks a mite hard for us to sleep on tonight. And I would say there was the strongest possibility of rain. Maybe even hail.
What you say that boy's name was?
George Washington.
Oh, you mean little Georgie. Well, Mr. Barnum, I put in there, raise that boy.
All right, Joyce, let's do it. Step right up and see you, folks. Joyce Heth, George Washington.
When you see the shape the world is in, when the way it is ain't what it's been, when folks just care for gold, thank God I'm old. When you take a gander at the news, when you hear the language people use, when no sweet songs are sung, I don't want to be young.
Liven it up, Joyce.
Daddy time doesn't fret me. Should he sign me? That don't upset me. Let him
I want you to go get me a big silk
come
sign.
and get me. That's fine by me. Age don't worry me. When you see the way folks misbehave, when it's only good times that they crave, when kids are much too bold, thank God I'm old. When there ain't no He-Man left alive, when they tell you 3 men out of 5, age don't locked up or hung. I don't wanna be young.
All right, dance, Joyce.
But I can't dance, I'm 160 years old.
Rain, hail, maybe a blizzard.
I'll dance.
Let's do it. All right, wind up slow now. That's it. Come back here. Now sell it. Sell it. Start at the top of the hill. I give you a push. Here she goes. Hang on to my arm. That's it. Stand up straight. Start with the left. That one. And. That a girl. Back.
Let me tell you about the day Georgia discovered America.
2 blocks down. And give her some resuscitation. All right, maybe I misled him a bit. But most of those folks went home thinking that they shook the hand that held the rosy bottom of the father of our country. And that is what is known as a patriotic humbug. And there's none finer. Well, now that Joyce was a success, I started signing up new attractions. But of course, I had to find some place to put them.
That's right, Mr. Barnum. I'm selling you a full partnership in the American Museum. But I'm warning you, my rough bottom price is $15,000.
And worth every penny of it, Mr. Scudder. The full amount to be paid out of the first year's profits. And should I fall behind, I will forfeit all my attractions to your good self.
Very well, Mr. Barnum. But I don't want to turn the museum into no sideshow.
I couldn't agree with you more, sir. That's why I intend rebuilding the entire museum and filling all 5 floors with the most educational attractions imaginable, including 3 galleries of art, a lecture hall seating 2,000 people, and in the rotunda, a glass tank containing a living, breathing, spouting great white whale from Labrador. And just to help you make up your mind, sir, may I present you with 1 courtesy ticket entitling you and a friend to free admissions upon payment of half the normal price on any Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday between the hours of 12 noon and 1 p.m. Is that a deal, sir?
Taylor Barnum! Did you or did you not invite me all the way from Bridgeport to have lunch with you at 1 o'clock sharp? It is now past 2:15.
In the center ring, ladies and gentlemen, P.T. Barnum faces that most ferocious of all jungle beasts, the female of the species, who was being kept waiting over 1 hour and 15 minutes. Mr. Barnum will now face this most dangerous creature. Unarmed!
Mr. Scudder, did I not ask you to tell me when it was 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock?
Now, please send no excuses. Run along. I'll see you at the museum at 2:45 with the builders. And please be prompt. Cherry, I don't know why I ever took him on as a partner. He's so unreliable. Now, that is what is known as a matrimonial humbug. The only trouble is, with my wife, it never works.
Hogwash, Taylor, I believe you forgot that appointment all by yourself.
Uh-huh.
Now, I have some pamphlets to collect at the Women's Emancipation Society. They have a lovely tea room. I think we'll lunch there.
No, I can't eat there. McNally's Saloon is right around the corner.
Nonsense, Taylor. You don't need a drink. You need some good, decent food inside you.
Not liver and prunes, please.
Oh, very well then, Taylor. I suggest we leave it up to the fates. Head, the Women's Emancipation Society, tails, McNally's Saloon.
All right. I'll toss if you don't mind.
Oh, go right ahead, Taylor. I trust you 100%.
Liver and prunes.
Our new pamphlet all about the Stanton Act. Now, thanks to Elizabeth Cady Stanton, the state of New York now guarantees a woman the right to make all her own business and legal decisions. What do you think of that, Mr. Barnum?
Oh, I'm all for it, 100%. As long as she asks her husband first. Now, could we have half a dozen oysters here and 2 large ales, please?
I'm sorry, Mr. Barnum. Liver's the special today, plus fresh boiled parsnips and a compote of prunes. It sounds delicious. We'll have 2.
I should be up for days.
Now, Taylor, you can tell me about this new partner of yours.
Cherry, Amos Scudder and I are going to rebuild the American Museum.
With what? We haven't
$100 to our name.
With brass and a bit of humbug, you'd be surprised how often it's just as good as silver or gold.
Schemes again, Taylor. Schemes and dreams.
But that's my nature, Jerry. I told you I was a dreamer the first night I met you.
Taylor Barnum, when a girl meets a man in the middle of the worst thunderstorm of the summer, with bolts of lightning jumping off every tree and barn in sight, and thunder so loud it nearly scares you out of your wits, she don't pay much mind when a man happens to mention he's a dreamer. I'm not saying you shouldn't have dreams, Taylor. Just let them be sensible ones we can reach.
But I want to excite people. I want to give them a glimpse of the miracle.
Miracle's a pretty fancy word for humbug, Taylor.
No, that's not fair. I may put a high polish on the facts.
I don't mind you using the imagination the good Lord gave you, but with $2 to bring up, you ought to be using it for more sensible things.
Oh,
now,
woman.
I happen to know that they're looking for a new partner at the Bridgeport Clock Factory. I could be part of it, Taylor.
No, Cherry, no. I can't do that. Tick-tock, tick from 10 to 6 every day, with only an occasional bong to break the monotony of 10,000 cuckoos looking out of 10,000 little holes. I mean, every man's got a temperament, Mrs. Barnum. Mine is just not suited to the tick-tock, cuckoo, and bong.
Sorry, Taylor. I shouldn't have brought it up.
Of course you should, Jerry. Of course you should. That's half a wife's job, bringing up things a husband doesn't want to hear. No, it's just that the clock works. It isn't the right color for me. Say the words. Bridgeport Clock Works. What do you see? Grays and browns. But you step inside any sideshow. You've got fire engine red, Kelly green, butter yellow. It's like being inside a giant pinwheel. Oh, and it's not for my own selfish reasons I need all them colors, Cherry. Oh, I want to splash them out for everybody in the whole world to see. The colors of my life are bountiful and bold. The purple glow of indigo, the gleam of green and gold, the splendor of a sunrise, the dazzle of a flame, the glory of a rainbow. I put 'em all to shame. No quiet browns and grays. I'll take my days instead and fill them till they overflow with rose and cherry red. And should this sunlit world grow dark one day, the colors of my light will leave a shining light to
That's well and good, Mr. Barnum, but your greens and reds aren't going to be much help if you don't get those builders started.
Cherry? Oh, Cherry! I'll be back in 5 minutes. Well, 15 at the most. And a half hour at the outside. Cherry, if I'm not back by 6, why don't you come down to the museum? You can't miss it. It's on the corner of Ann Street and Broadway. It's got a big purple sign with gold letters and red trimming that says, Barnum's American Museum. The splendor of a sunrise, the dazzle of a flame, the glow of a rainbow. I put 'em all to shame. I'm gonna do this. Just hang on there.
It's your own fault, Charity Barnum. If you'd asked a few logical questions before you married him, you'd have had a healthy distance between yourself and a fellow who wants to give the whole world a paint job, which I'm not so sure it needs. The colors of my life are softer than a breeze. gray of eider down, the dappled green of trees, the amber of a wheat field, the hazel of a seed, the crystal of a raindrop are all I ever need. Your reds are much too bold. In gold I find no worth. I'll fill my days with sage and brown, the colors of the earth. And if from by my side my love should roam, colors of my life shine a quiet light to lead in.
For children of all ages, a cascade, a caravan, a cornucopia, a cavalcade of cataclysmically comical clowns! Go back at the other side, in front of the entrance. That's it. Put those down there in a pile. That's a pile. I know it's a bicycle. Go back, get those other bricks. Come back here with that bicycle. Stop! Get out of here. Stop! Oh, Cherry. I've bitten up more than I can chew.
Nonsense.
Have you forgotten we got an opening Monday morning at 9?
We'll be ready.
You intend rebuilding an entire museum in 2 days?
I do, my treasure.
But how?
Slowly.
Look at this mess!
The Lord gave each and every one the spunk to do what can't be done, the brawn, the brain, the courage, and the heart. The strength to bend the strongest bar, the will to reach the farthest star. It's just a case of learning how to start. You'll build a tower up so high to a cloud. You'll anchor build it one tiny brick at a time. But multiply till the buns a banker does begin with a thin silver dime. That empty field, it can yield miles and miles of flowers. You don't need no magic powers, just a seed and showers from the floor to the skies. You can soar if you're wise enough to fly. One brick at a time.
Bring your truck to the fore.
Build the ship and build the land.
You leave and keep and raise the mast.
And hope begins with just a simple ride. And hope with roots a mile beneath
Becomes a stick to prick your teeth.
to sharpen up your knife and take your time. One stalwart chap with a gun and a bunch of hours he can scoop all the salt from the sea. But open up turning bows to bowers all begun by just one bumblebee to write with these symphonies or at least cantati filled with thrills and all forgot he's not with wrong. So long he leave the rest if the dust leave the rest if you're just content with one spring at a time.
You take a brick and place it on the ground to make it stick for mortar all around.
A cup of lime and stir until it's hard and up to climb by inch, by foot, by yard and sail a door and let
Everything about my museum was spectacular, including the price. $1. Now, that may seem a lot, but it was worth it. After all, look at what I gave them. Vita-Lotta, Roman terracotta, living lava from the flanks of Etna, statuary, rider dromedary, see the temple tumble and the Red Sea part. McNamara's banner, fattest lady in the land of pickle prehistoric Candace, Strata, Pocahontas hair. Province who we're going to be showing you some rolling through a model of the rapids and the Delaware. Armadillos, clever caterpillars, reproductions of the Cyclops retina, crystal blowing, automatic sewing, Venus on a shell and other works of art. Educated, please, the tribe of Aborigines, ladies join across the knees of Mona Lisa made of ice. Hottentots forgotten and forgotten spots of cotton gin and night will all this southern Tennessee, then twice. One iguana, snakes, another fauna. Got no bearded lady, but we're getting no. When you duck out, you take another buck out. Run around the block until you run around the block until you run around the block until your new show starts. Just $1, folks. That's it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, sir. Thank you, lady. Enjoy yourself.
Mr. Barnum, 5,000 admissions in one day.
5,000?
Only everybody's going downstairs to see the whale,
right?
And then they're going upstairs to see the Indians, a mermaid, and Joyce Head.
Right.
And then they're going back downstairs to start all over again.
Oh.
Nobody's going out, Mr. Barnum. There's a whole line of people waiting to get in, so what are we going to do?
You put that sign I had printed outside the back door. To the egress.
To the egress?
Don't panic, it's just a fancy word for exit.
But no one will know what it means.
Oh, they will when they get outside. Vita-Lotta, Roman terracotta, living out on the flanks of Etna, statuary, rider dromedary, see the tumble on the Red Sea part. McNamara's banner, fattest lady in the land of pickle prehistoric Candace, Strata, Pocahontas hair. Province who we're going to be showing you some road model of the rapids in the Delaware. Armadillos, clever caterpillars, reproduction of the Cyclops retina, crystal blowing, automatic sewing, Venus on a shell, other words of art. Educated, please, tribe, Aborigines, age, join across the knees of Mona Lisa made of ice. Hottentots forgotten and forgotten spots, cotton gin, night, a lot of sort of Tennessee, that's twice. One iguana, snakes, not a fauna. Got to be a lady, but we're getting no when you duck out, take another buck out, run. See you back here next week. New address. Come with us, Chevy, you didn't pay me.
We're going to take a break for the next few moments. This intermission is your chance to thank our entire membership for bringing you programs like this one throughout the entire year. Give us a call and pledge your support as your thanks.
I hope you're enjoying Barnum as much as we are. I really do, you know. We enjoy the fact that we're able to bring you this kind of television, this televised version of such a great theatrical success. Michael Crawford, you know, the original Phantom here on Broadway, starred as P.T. Barnum on London's West End, and I believe for how long?
Well, he played it for about 4 years.
For 4 years. We have a gentleman here who knows these things, and I'll be introducing him in a moment, and you'll understand why he knows these things. So it was, of course, Jim Dale who originated the role here on Broadway. Well, right now, we'd like you to step to your telephone and say thank you for the opportunity to see this wonderful show in your own home without going to West End or Broadway. Our goal this break is 300 calls, 300 pledges, and we certainly hope that you will be part of our act. Pledge what you can, but pledge now. We have some special premiums, a special guest, and we have Midge Woolsey. Midge.
Thanks, Jack. You know, this program lineup is paid for entirely by our station members. Now, wouldn't it be nice to feel just a little proud that you support public television rather than just a little guilty that you don't? Well, as thanks for everyone who joins tonight at the $75 family membership level, we have a special offering.
The greatest thank you for taking out your $75 family membership is a set of 2 tickets to the greatest show on earth, the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, featuring Europe's favorite circus star, Flavio Togni. The fun begins at 10:30 a.m. Saturday, April 21st at Madison Square Garden. Pledge an additional $10 for each additional ticket. Take advantage of this opportunity to enjoy the circus while you help 13.
Now, newcomers to 13 can join for as little as $40. This introductory membership entitles you to free cable installation, a cable hookup to a second set, or installation of a premium channel. Now, this offer is good on standard cable connections in cable serviceable areas from participating companies only. You'll also receive the famous 13 tote bag, our program guide, and Ticket to the Arts, your ticket to reduced admission to all sorts of cultural attractions in our area. Whatever level you join at, you can be proud of supporting a year's worth of the best programs on TV, right, Jack?
Indeed, Midge. It is my great pleasure now to welcome the composer of the show, Barnum, Cy Coleman. And Cy is the gentleman I was turning to a moment ago for the expertise on the show.
Oh, yes, about the years, right? We count them.
How long ago was it? I mean, you know that Cy Coleman has written and co-written the music for so many shows. How long ago was Sweet Charity?
Oh, I hate to say that. It was 1965. The original Sweet Charity we did in 1965.
It's time for a 25th reunion.
I think so, yes. Well, we actually had a revival of it just a couple of years ago with Debbie Allen.
Yeah, well, that's right, of course.
That's when I found out it was 25 years.
You don't look that old. And then the shows Little Me and On the 20th Century, and of course now one of the most praised shows ever to hit Broadway, City of Angels. What a wonderful success you're having, huh?
Oh, yeah, and I'm enjoying every bit of it, I must tell you.
I'm sure.
Yes.
You and Larry Gelbart.
Larry Gelbart, David Zippel, and of course Michael Blakemore, a remarkable director.
Yeah.
Robin Wagner says, I can go on and on. The people in this show are just wonderful and remarkable to work with.
Cy Coleman's music. A singer once said that it is impossible to sing a Cy Coleman song badly. He has never written a bad one. We're delighted to have you with us tonight, Cy.
Well, thank you very much. That's high praise. I'm really getting a kick out of watching Barnum from this vantage point. It's fun to be part of the excitement here at 13. The teamwork among all the people here, working together with the members at home, is inspiring. It's a little like the song One Brick at a Time you just heard. 13's all about group coordination. The whole troop and Barnum tossing bricks like a well-oiled machine was fun to watch. And I know it was fun to be a part of it. That number was really a model of you at home working with us, working together, having fun, creating so much from one brick, one call, one membership at a time. And as Jack said earlier, we're hoping for 300 calls this break.
That's right. That's right. And we need the phones to get busier than they are now to make that. It's delightful to have Cy with us. I really look forward to hearing more from him. But the urgent business of this break is your calling and supporting programs like this. What is it we're trying to build one brick at a time? Well, think of 13 as a kind of museum of the airwaves. Entertainment, information. We go out and find or produce programs that we think you will enjoy. Midge Woolsey's department, the acquisitions department, acquired this program, Barnum, thinking that you would enjoy it and that you would be willing to show your appreciation in a concrete way, in a financial way, with your pledge. Barnum's on 13 because of the fine efforts of the acquisition department, and it is here not because of corporate grants, but because of pledges. Members, the largest single reliable and renewable source of funds. We need you urgently during this break to pick up your phone and join us.
Well, you know, P.T. Barnum was a consummate showman and a smart businessman. He was born into an America that worked hard but didn't have any place to go have fun. In 1962, almost 100 years after the first whip cracked in Madison Square Garden, New York had another void to be filled, entertaining and educating the TV audience. And so 13 was born. But unlike the circus, 13 doesn't charge admission. The station just asks that you give whatever you can to help keep the good programs coming. Enable 13 to do what other stations ignore.
Absolutely right, Cy. You know, we do operate on the honor system, and we hope that if you see something on your screen that leaves you just slightly different than you were before, whether it's a new way of looking at things or just the experience of a good laugh, you'll call now and become part of this area's TV treasure. And if you're enjoying Barnum, we think you're going to love the theater tickets we're offering.
It's no salad, it's lettuce and lovage. The hilarious comedy by Peter Schaffer, author of Equus and Amadeus, and it stars Maggie Smith, now Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire, in a performance that's been the toast of London for over 2 years. Now it's coming to Broadway. And as thanks for your $200 pledge to 13, we'll send you a pair of choice tickets for the evening of May 30th, June 5th, June 13th, or June 27th. Call now to reserve your seats. Keep 13 your station of choice.
And speaking of Broadway, listen very carefully. Here's a challenge for you theater fans. Not only has Cy volunteered his time tonight, he's also giving away tickets to his hit show, City of Angels. It's a fabulous show. I've seen it. If you're interested, listen very carefully. Here's the deal. Whoever pledges the most money on our 212 number, that's 1-212-985-9913, using their charge card, will win a pair of choice tickets to the City of Angels for the night of Thursday, May 10th, or Thursday, June 14th. So call our 212 number, use your charge card, and be generous. Thanks, Cy.
My pleasure, Midge. You know, when Barnum was on Broadway, it took nearly 6 months of packed performances to reach the same number of people as we're reaching tonight with one broadcast. Television is a powerful medium, but public television, and 13 in particular, is only as strong as its members allow it to be. All that Jack and Midge and I and everyone here at 13 are asking you to do is pay whatever you feel you can afford for a whole year's worth of entertainment. And for those of you who take me up on my charge card challenge, good luck.
Now, I was doing a little math, and a pretty astonishing statistic here, if you work it out. 300,000 of you, we estimate, are watching now. 300,000. As Cy was suggesting before, it took nearly 6 months for that many people to see the show when it was on Broadway. 300,000. Now, that's a lot of people. There is power in numbers. But there could be more power because, here's something else we figure, only 10% of you out there are paying members. So of the 300,000 watching Barnum right now, over 250,000 are watching for free. Now, what kind of humbug is that? Come on, give us a call.
We do have a very special offer during this evening and every evening throughout the rest of our pledge drive. 2 Movado watches, gorgeous watches, will be given away at the end of the program. How do you qualify? Well, you can call in on our 800 number or our 212 number. One name will be chosen from the 800 number group and one name from the 212 number group. You don't have to phone in a pledge, but we would like those of you who are not going to pledge to call during the show so that we can keep all the phones available for pledge phone calls. But if you'd like to get in on that deal, call up. Tell our volunteers your name, your address, your telephone number. We'll put your name into the bin, and at the end of the evening, we'll choose the winners. Once again, Cy Coleman has made a very generous offer. If you'd like to call in and charge a pledge, at the end of the evening, whoever calls in the highest pledge will win 2 tickets to see City of Angels. We're having a lot of fun here tonight on 13. We hope you're enjoying the programming. If you are, won't you give us a call? Phone in a pledge, whether it's $40, $50, $60, $100, $1,000. Those pledges will add up to a year's worth of quality programming here on 13. You count on us for the service, right? Well, we count on you for your pledges of support. We couldn't do it without you. To those of you who have taken the time to call, a very big thank you for your support and for your patience. You, above all, understand how important it is that we do come to you at this important time of the year and ask for your support. And now it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy more of Barnum.
If you prefer, mail your check to 13, Box 1313, New York, New York, 10101.
All right, don't turn around till I tell you. P.T. Barnum, Grand Master of the High Wire, tries for a triple somersault. And falls, which gets him plenty burned up. All right, now.
Lord, they're real. Oh, what's the man done?
A foolish thing, Cherry. Married a hard-headed, cold-eyed, tough-talking Connecticut Yankee. He's kept my crazy world from going up in smoke this past 14 years. Happy anniversary.
Well, I might have been foolish enough to marry you, Taylor, but that doesn't mean I can't count. Our anniversary isn't for 6 months.
Not ours, the museum's. Oh. Have you forgotten exactly 1 year ago today we opened our doors to the public? So, I want you to go and put on your best silks and satins, woman, because tonight I'm going to take you, me, and those pearls to celebrate at the Fifth Avenue restaurant in New York City.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Barnum, but I'm not going to any Fifth Avenue restaurant. The food's too rich, the people too fancy, and I don't even want to discuss the prices. I'm staying right here.
Marital humbug number 2. This one never fails. Charity Barnum, I'm married to the prettiest woman in the state of Connecticut, and it's my God-given right to take her out and show her off if I want to. Now, either you go and put on your best dress at once, or certain very costly anniversary gifts are going to have to be returned. Well, it almost never fails. Charity Barnum, what am I going to do with you?
Put up with me, Taylor. The same as I do with you.
We're out of step. We disagree. What's right for you is wrong for me. Together we're apart a country mile. But I like your style. I like your style.
What's right for you is wrong for me. When I propose, then you protest. What's my delight? You just detest. To speak of what you ever read. What you ever read inside. No shouts or quarrels, no apologies. One simple fuss to dissect and discuss for the next 100 years.
Sit down here. Don't do that.
Each blessed day,
Blessed day.
we
Sweetly
with
fill.
no
Oh, and yes, I will.
You wonder how we made it down.
You wonder how we made it down the Right, come and dance, woman. Left, right, step, step, slap, slap. Young man, get down off that washing line. How many times do I tell you? The children's clothes have to go on. Look at the color of that. Don't you have any respect for other people's property? No, you're gonna fly. Hey, ow, ow. That's my best leg. I may never dance again. Not that one, the other one. Each blessed day. We sweetly fill. With no you won't. And yes, I will. You wonder how we made it down the aisle. I like your style. I like your style.
All right then, Taylor, I'll change my dress. But it isn't to show off these pearls to your fancy New York friends. It's because I'm still in love with you, you great fool. And I want one of your damn marital humbugs to succeed.
Charity Barnum, I have never humbugged you. Well, I'm surprised that you're even suggesting such a thing.
Mr. Barnum.
Not now, Mr. Scudder. Can't you see I'm lying to my wife? Mr. Scudder. What on earth brings you all the way out here from New York City this time of night, sir? Mr. Scudder. Is something wrong, sir?
A fire, Mr. Barnum.
At the museum.
What?
No use. There's nothing left. I'm sorry, Mr. Barnum.
Mr. Scudder, I hope I'm being humbugged, sir.
Alas, Mr. Barnum, you never taught me how.
Now, Taylor, I tell you right now, I don't intend dancing any gallops. I haven't had time to change my petticoat. It's the same old muslin one. But since the only dance you know is the waltz, I don't anticipate any problems.
Evening's off, Jared. I know you're celebrating a museum that's burned down. Oh, you were right. There's nothing but a darn sideshow anyhow.
Taylor Barnum, that museum was absolutely splendid. For what it was, I'll not listen to anything to the contrary. Oh, New York's not the only place to make a living, you know. There are lots of other places. There's a whole country out there. Why, right here is the Bridgeport Clock Factory.
Darn it, Charity Barnum, if you haven't come up with a solution. There is a whole country out there. Here I am, piddling my life away on the corner of Ann Street and Broadway. There gotta be what? 24 states never even heard of P.T. Barnum. I'll build a new museum. I'll put it on wheels.
Oh, no, Taylor, I wasn't thinking about any 24 states. The Bridgeport Clock Factory is for
I'll bring a little red and gold to the entire country. I can start with a 3-month swing around the East. All I need is some capital and a headline attraction. And because it was your idea.
What?
Because it was your idea, I'm going to put a top line on every ad. Entire tour under the personal supervision of Mr. and Mrs. P.T. Barnum.
Oh!
Sherry, you are with me on this, aren't you?
Well, Taylor, I am not sure that I'm 100% in accord.
Then everything's all right. We're quarreling again.
I hope I'm not interrupting, Mr. Barnum.
You are, Mr. Stratton.
But our appointment was for 2 o'clock.
I'm busy right now, sir.
Then why don't we forget it? My wife and I have a few moral qualms about your offer anyway.
Monday morning at 9, Mr. Stratton.
Good day, Mr. Barnum.
All right, damn it! Cherry, I gotta see him. He's got that headline attraction I told you about. Now, you go on dancing. I'll be back in 2 shakes.
deliciously droll advertisement as P.T. Barnum juggles 3 slippery Strattons in the air.
Mr. Stratton, now what's this about moral qualms?
Let me begin by telling you that my wife and I have the highest regard
But
for you.
to permit you to exploit our son Charles's oddities for such a small sum of money is an offense to the Christian conscience.
Now, the key word in that speech isn't Christian. It's small, as in sum of money. Exactly what do you mean when you refer to oddities, Mrs. Stratton?
Any boy only 25 inches tall from head to toe is a freak of nature.
Joyce Heft is 160 years old. Madame Josepha has a 10-inch beard. Anne Swan is 8.5 feet tall. That doesn't make them freaks, Mrs. Stratton. It makes them special. What you call an aberration of nature, I call a gift from God to lift them above the crowd. Now, Since the young man is old enough to make up his own mind, why don't we ask him? Well, Charlie, I want you to come with me and join my show. But I'm not going to fool you. And what? Tens, thousands, maybe millions of people are going to come and see you. Some to stare, maybe even a few to laugh. But most are going to cheer. And they're going to tell their children and grandchildren for generations to come that they once saw the smallest man in the world. And we'll find a special name to go with the miracle of your size. Of course, you mustn't forget the other benefits. It's going to be what? Senators, presidents, bishops, all knocking at your door wanting to talk to you. Or you can stay safe and snug in that chair for the rest of your life. Never moving from one day to the next. It's up to you, Charlie. Now, what do you say? That's it. That's the name. Thumb. Tom Thumb.
Ladies and gentlemen of the great city of Philadelphia, for the first time anywhere, the world's smallest man, General Tom Thumb. I'm General Thumb, just come to town, a Yankee Doodle dandy. I've ate your scrapple, washed it down with just a nip of brandy. The mayor made me presents rare, the ladies did salute me. First rate I am, they all declare, and all my poses suit me. My success should open up your eyes. Don't judge nothing just by shape or size. Bigger isn't better, taller isn't braver, stronger isn't always wise, smaller isn't necessarily the lesser, guts can come in any size. Lady luck can favor just a little shaver over one who's 6'3". Brains in any tussle, muscle flow of muscle, bet your life I'm glad I'm me. Ladies and gentlemen, General Tom Thumb's engagement has been canceled this evening due to his command performance at Buckingham Palace. Larger isn't bolder, higher might be low inside. When you need to lean upon a friendly shoulder, narrow's just as good as wide. See the mighty lion sitting there and crying, bit by a tiny flea. Mammoth was colossal, what's he now a fossil? Bet your life I'm glad I'm me. What's strong in both may lag along in brains and heart. Hulk might be a Lilliputian mentally, proven consequently. Though he shows his shoulders twice as big as boulders, if the brain's a tiny pea. When you're in a pickle, he ain't worth a nickel. Bet your life I'm glad I'm. Bet your life I'm glad I'm me. some folks are scared to cross them, nonetheless a guarantee. Smallish Yankee Doodle, if he's in the moodle, beat the whole caboodle, using just his noodle. Bet all I find glad I'm
Once again in the center ring, P.T. Barnum versus the female of the species.
Stuff and nonsense, Taylor. Tom Thumb may be the smallest man on Earth, but you managed to tell some pretty tall tales about him.
Woman.
You know what this tour needs is at least one respectable attraction.
Now, don't start that again. We're going to miss the Chicago train.
Very well, then the children are with the suitcases in the waiting room. You collect them, and I'll meet you on the platform.
Cherry, collecting children is what you do.
Right now, Mr. Barnum, I've other fish to fry. The Women's Emancipation Society.
What, are they following me around the country? Huh? The Liver and Prunes Club. What is this? One of those feminist get-togethers, Mr. Barnum. You can't go into the street without stumbling over him. I'm sorry? Goldschmidt. Julius Goldschmidt. We met in New York last autumn when you saw my tour with Edwin Booth. Of course, Mr. Goldschmidt. So what do these ladies want now? Power to the homemaker or some such nonsense. What the poor creatures don't realize is they got all the power in the world if they'd learn how to use it. I don't follow you, sir. Well, what does a wife want to vote for when she can have her husband? Oh. I'll give you an example of the kind of woman I'm talking about. A little lady I'm going over to England next month to sign up, Miss Jenny Lind. Lind? She just finished her second command performance for Queen Victoria. Lind, of course. The India rubber lady who can tie a knot in her right arm. Oh, Jenny Lind is an opera singer, Mr. Barnum. And she ties many knots. A cheek as fair as falling snow, two eyes that hold a special glow, a sigh as soft as summer wind, a trembly smile, Miss Jenny Lind. New York train's almost here. I must be on my way. Mr. Barnum? Mr. Goldschmidt.
Taylor, just wait till you read what's in this pamphlet. Votes for women, rights of ownership, even letting a woman hold a man's job if she's qualified.
Cherry, you want a man's job? How would you like to run the rest of the tour by yourself?
What would you be doing?
Taking a boat ride? Now, you're always on about me getting a respectable attraction. Well, I just got wind of one. A Miss Jenny Lind.
The opera singer?
Right. The only thing is I got to get to England right away to beat out the competition. Now, what do you say?
Well, it's not the same as running something solid like the Bridgeport Cloth Factory, but it's a challenge, and I accept. We better get a move on, Taylor. It's only 4 minutes to train time, and you'd better hurry if you want a berth on the next train to New York.
Now, wait a minute. Are you sure we're doing the right thing? I know we're not satisfied with the status quo, but at least we're used to it.
Okay, well then, Taylor, we'll leave it up to the fates. Tails will continue the tour together. Heads, you go to England. Bon voyage, Mr. Barnum.
It's uncharted territory, Mrs. Barnum.
I'm equal to it, Taylor. And so are you.
Well, it wasn't too late. I could have missed that train, followed Cherry west. But I didn't. I made the train, I made the boat, and I made the deal with Miss Lind's representatives. But just who humbugged who that time, I have yet to find out. 2 questions remain unanswered. How was P.T. Barnum going to sell an opera singer to the American public? And who the hell was Jenny Lind? But like that fella Shakespeare said, what's in a name anyhow? It's titles the public wants. So, I shall call her the scintillating songbird from Scandinavia. Well, it's not that bad. The songbird who scintillates from Sweden. I know that one's fast. All right, I got it. The singing Swede. You like that? I like that, too. Unfortunately, Cherry had already had the handbills printed. So we were stuck with calling her the Swedish Nightingale.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on these blessed shores, the world-renowned Swedish Nightingale. Due to the extremely respectable nature of this attraction, Mr. Barnum's promotional campaign will refrain from any sensational claims and rely on the plain, unvarnished truth.
P.T. Barnum, Miss Lind, welcoming you on behalf of the 1,233,000 American citizens to New York City. Did you have a nice crossing?
Ursäkta, men vad vill ni?
Come again?
Förlåt, men jag förstår inte ett språk.
She can't speak a word of English. Did you know she couldn't speak a word of English? Miss Lind, this here is the United States of America. And here we try and speak English.
Engelska?
We're in serious trouble. Horace, prepare that stage. Miss Lind, you have to give a concert on this stage.
Ja, en konsert.
No, in English, Miss Lind, in English.
I know want to learn English.
Well, you have no choice.
Schuss.
No choice.
Schuss.
Choice.
Schuss.
Good.
Tid.
Good.
Tid.
Good.
Good.
That's good.
No good.
Good evening.
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 Ladies.
Lettuce.
No lettuce. Lettuce you eat. It's a lady.
Ladies.
And.
Und.
And.
And.
Gentlemen.
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 Good.
Just smile, Miss Lind. Just smile. No American can resist the smile of a beautiful woman. No American man, anyhow. Right now, I am going out to the front of the theater. I hope you have a pleasant concert. I hope I have a pleasant concert. Quiet! That's the best they played all week.
What's this?
In English, Miss Lind, in English!
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lind thanks you for your kind reception of her program and asks if she might sing one last song, a song she performed at her first concert in Sweden and dedicates tonight to a new American friend.
Beautiful, Miss Lind. Quite beautiful.
Mr. Barnum, I am a confusion. Many gentlemen ask to go with me to the reception tonight, and I not know which one to choose.
Well, my dear lady, you pick whoever takes your fancy.
Very well. I choose a scholastic person, my English teacher.
Oh, now, my dear lady, I am a confusion.
Congratulations, Miss Lind. Taylor, the carriage is waiting.
I'll be right there, Cherry.
It's not important. The mayor of the city also asked go with me.
Why, he's a fine gentleman.
Taylor, please hurry. I want to freshen up at the hotel before the reception.
Of course.
Well, perhaps another time.
Cherry, I got me a problem. The receipts have got to be counted again. The darn bookkeeper messed up. Why don't you take the carriage, and I'll see you later.
Very well then, Taylor. I'll see you when I see you. It was a great success tonight, and I'm very proud of you. Good night, my darling. Good night, Miss Lind.
Cherry! Miss Lind! What, damn it, why shouldn't I take her to the reception? Hell, it's just for a few hours. All my life I spent selling the dream to everyone else in the world. Isn't it time I gotta look at it myself? I'm a man. I got the price of admission. I want to see what's going on inside the tent. Staying home, living day by day. Maybe safe, but it can't be dollar. Seeing things
the night like a flaming arrow. Turning back to the highway bend, turning down every chance you're given. Takes the risk out of life, but friend, how the hell can you call that living? Stand forward in a pumpkin shell is a bleak and depressing habit. There's a ring on the carousel, and it's yours if you'll only grab it. Out there somewhere just down the line, there's a world of glory and shine. 1 square foot, there's gotta be mine. Once in his life when a man decides, once when he stands where the road divides, once on a hill as the morning grows, once if he will, he can see those fires glow, flags streaming, spires grow, towers gleaming, in a land where the dawn is clear, in a sky where the sun's forever, on a plain where it's spring all year, darker the night comes never, somewhere out there, just out of sight, there's a world that's shining with light. Ain't man alive got the right? Come on, come on. To forget the past.
In the main ring, ladies and gentlemen, the latest international sensation, the rarest, most beautiful bird in captivity, the Swedish Nightingale.
Once in his life to behold at last.
And Mr. Phineas K. Barnum in their amazing Ascension Act with gorgeous pyrotechnic display.
All of 13's members are proud to be bringing this program to you. Please take these intermission moments to call us with your pledge of support and to add your name to the hundreds of thousands of viewers like you who belong to 13 as its members.
Sitting here with the composer of Barnum, Cy Coleman, and I tell you, we have just had a close call. Now, I don't want to give it away any more than that right now, but I want to ask a trivia question. But first of all, I want to encourage you to get our phones ringing, because a show like Barnum, there could be no better reason to support 13, the station that brings it to you, than this. Now, the trivia question. Who played the role of Charity Barnum in the original Broadway cast of Barnum, which opened 10 years ago, was it, Si?
1980.
10 years ago.
10 years ago, right.
10 years ago, who played the role of Charity Barnum? Now, should we give them a clue at all? The woman had never...
I think it was her first musical.
She had never done movies before.
No, this was her entrance to movies, actually.
And she is today...
And I understand she's also a supporter of Channel 13.
She is a member of 13,
She's a member,
absolutely.
Yes.
But she is, Cy was telling me off camera, one of your proudest accomplishments, is that
Well, I think that, yes, she's definitely one of my proudest accomplishments, and everybody who worked in Barnum felt the same way.
Because she went on from that beginning to something that will make her even more familiar.
Of course, like all of America, we all have a crush on her, too, you know.
I guess so.
Oh, of course.
I gave you the clue at the very top. I said we have just had a close call. The original role of Charity Barnum 10 years ago was played by...
Glenn Close.
who called to tell Cy he's doing a fantastic job, which, by the way, you are.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Glenn.
And to say that, yes, indeed, she is a member. She does support 13. Folks, she supports 13. We urge you to support 13. Give us a lot of close calls during this break, won't you?
Do this one for Glenn.
Midge, take it away, lady.
Thanks a lot, Jack. Well, the phones are really ringing. It tells us that you are out there. Now, what can we do to entice you over to the telephone to make a pledge? Well, how about this? You know, Barnum is such good family fun. We thought, what better way to reward each family that joins us tonight than by sending them to the circus? That's right. Step right up to your phone right now, and you could be at the greatest show on earth, Saturday, April 21st. We'll send you 2 tickets to the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus for your pledge. And each additional $10 you pledge gets you another ticket to the show. Europe's favorite circus star, Flavio Toni, another in that long line of American-bound continental performers, will entertain and amaze. And here's what else you get with your family membership.
Our family membership is really a double membership. As the adult, you receive your membership card, which includes all the privileges of our Ticket to the Arts program. And the child of your choice receives a membership card in Club 13. Club 13 membership means special mailings and discounts to exciting events at Madison Square Garden all year long. That means events like the circus in the spring, Sesame Street Live, selected sporting events, and the horse show. Every month you'll receive the 13 program guide, and your Club 13 member will receive a special seasonal guide with listings of shows particularly designed for the young kids. Our Kids Culture catalog will prove to be a versatile source of things to do for the whole family. And naturally, there's a tote bag, a navy blue and gray mini tote. All of this is yours because you decided to join 13 as a family member. And look at the most exciting thank you of all.
Michael Crawford's doing quite a job on stage. You know, it's a very demanding role. All the juggling and tightrope walking, sort of reminiscent of the acrobatics the folks here at 13 perform in order to broadcast all the good stuff that they do. But as a viewer and supporter of 13, I'm glad they jumped through those hoops. Through the years, 13 has consistently offered us a wide array of quality programs. Programs that enrich, enlighten, and entertain. One area that 13 excels in is broadcast that the whole family, parents, grandparents, and kids can enjoy together.
You know, recent study shows that 25% of the time parents and children are together is spent watching television. Well, wouldn't it be good to know that that precious time is spent on quality television with a station you can trust? Our Director of Children's and Family Programming, Donald Johnson, feels it is important for 13 to help children and parents communicate on a wide variety of topics. We have a growing list of programs that can accomplish that. Over the next couple of years, we'll be showing you, we hope, if we have the funds to complete them, some entertaining and educational shows for the whole family. Lights On, that's a game show that will encourage problem solving and creative thinking. Behind the Scenes, hosted by the comic magician team of Penn and Teller, will show kids the process of creativity. Exciting shows. Help us make them a reality. Now back to Midge.
Thanks, Jack. Whatever level you join at, you'll know that you're supporting an entire year of extraordinary television. Now, if you feel that you and your family have benefited from watching 13 and can afford to pledge $75, then do we have a premium for you.
The greatest thank you for taking out your $75 family membership is a set of 2 tickets to the greatest show on earth, the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, featuring Europe's favorite circus star, Flavio Toni. The fun begins at 10:30 a.m. Saturday, April 21st at Madison Square Garden. Pledge an additional $10 for each additional ticket. Take advantage of this opportunity to enjoy the circus while you help 13.
Now, first-time subscribers can join us for as little as $40 and get a lot for it. We'll send you our monthly program guide, complete with program highlights and a separate listing of all our great movies. You'll also receive a ticket to the arts, your pass to discounts at numerous museums, theaters, and other cultural institutions in our area. We'll also send you that sophisticated fashion statement, the 13 tote bag. And as if all that weren't enough, a 13 membership at any level comes with a super cable bonus. You can either get a free cable hookup, or if you're already a cable subscriber, we'll thank you with a free installation to a second set, or set you up with one of the premium channels. Now, this offer is good on standard cable connection in cable serviceable areas from participating companies only. But the best reward for your pledge is seeing a show on 13 that you particularly enjoy, like this one this evening, and knowing that your money helped make it happen. Now, this evening, we were hoping for 300 calls during this break, 300 new members. We heard from a lot of you with the answer to Jack's trivia question, Glenn Close. Thank you very, very much. But we'd like to hear from a lot more of you with your pledges of support. 300 new members. When you think about the thousands of folks who are out there enjoying the program this evening across the tri-state area, 300 is not a lot to ask. So please, if you've never done it, why don't you help us out right now? We've got a lot of terrific volunteers waiting for your call, and that spells opportunity for you. Maybe you've watched on another evening when it's particularly busy, and you've tried to call and you've gotten a busy signal. Well, now would be a perfect time to hear from you.
I hope it's not immodest for me to say that we're all looking forward to getting back to the show. The show must go on, you know. But in truth, the show can't go on without the support of the members at home. Make the calls. Be among those who care, and care enough to put their money where their mouth is. You'll be glad you did.
And we do have some added incentives for you to call tonight. Cy has generously offered yet another pair of tickets to his Broadway hit musical, City of Angels. It's a fabulous evening of entertainment. During this break, to the highest pledge we receive on our 212 number on a charge card. So pull out your charge card, call 212-985-9913, and be generous. You could win tickets for Thursday night, May 10th, or Thursday night, June 14th. Thanks, Cy. And thanks also go to Movado. If you haven't heard about it, we're giving away 2 gorgeous Movado watches this evening at the end of Barnum. And how do you qualify? Well, it's very simple. Call either our 212 number or our 800 number. One winner will be chosen from the 212 group, and one will be chosen from the 800 group. If you want to know more about it, call our volunteers. You don't have to pledge, but we do ask if you want to call and not make a pledge, call during the program, because we want to leave all our phones available for pledges. And here's another offer for everyone who calls now and makes a pledge of $200.
It's no salad. It's lettuce and lovage. The hilarious comedy by Peter Shaffer, author of Equus and Amadeus, and it stars Maggie Smith, now Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire, in a performance that's been the toast of London for over 2 years. Now it's coming to Broadway. And as thanks to your $200 pledge to 13, we'll send you a pair of choice tickets for the evening of May 30th, June 5th, June 13th, or June 27th. Call now to reserve your seat. Keep 13 your station of choice.
If you prefer, mail your check to 13, Box 1313, New York, New York, 10101.
Out of the main ring and on to the fairgrounds. A musical salute celebrating Miss Jenny Lynn's 50th concert in the United States, featuring the good citizens of Washington and the American Marching Band.
Let's go! Come follow the band.
With a most majestic manner, you'll remember all your life. Then the passing down the woods inside, the rustic shout and the country cry, when you crash and clang, and the whole shebang goes by, and the whole shebang goes by.
See the pretty lady toss that butt on high, ain't she cute as a daisy? Watch the fella with the big bass drum go by, ain't you glad that you stayed? Hear the tuba play that oom-ba-bow, my, ain't he driving you crazy? Don't you be so darn lazy, better hurry and join that big parade! Ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed members of the American Marching Band Society, President and Mrs. Fillmore respectfully invite you to join them on the lawns of the White House this evening, where Miss Jenny Lind will give her first concert in our nation's capital. Everybody you see now. Thank you. Mr. Barnum, sir, it's nearly 6:15, and Miss Lind asked me to remind you that the reception's at 7 o'clock sharp. And she says since President Fillmore's a stickler for punctuality...
Damn it, Wilton, don't I get one evening off a week? Whole 6 months of this tour has been nothing but tea with the president, supper with the senator, reception with the chief justice. When do they find time to run the country? I tell you, I'd give the whole thing up tomorrow just to get away from them.
Oh, you don't mean that, Mr. Barnum.
Oh, yes, I do. Mr. Goldschmidt's been after me to buy Miss Lind's contract. I've a damn good mind to sell it to him. I humbugged myself into thinking I needed a respectable attraction. I humbugged myself into thinking I needed some color in my life. Now look at me. It's a miserable state of affairs, if you ask me. I should be being respectable with someone I love. Wilton, I want you to send a wire to Mr. Goldschmidt, telling him I'll see him in New York day after tomorrow. And another to Mrs. Barnum, telling her if that coin comes up heads, I might just be in Bridgeport end of next week. Well, none of my female of the species humbugs ever seem to pan out. But I'm too old a dog not to try. Ah, it's a disgrace, if you ask me. Complete and utter disgrace.
You see muttering.
Me muttering? I never mutter. I'd have been politeness muttering.
Then I'll just admit.
If I got something to utter, I utter it. I never mutter. I might sputter, but I never mutter. I used to mutter. I used to have a mutter. How many times do I tell you, keep your hands out my pants?
I think I know what this is about. The way the French ambassador smiled at me last night.
Wrong. What do I care if some weaser-looking Frenchie smiles at you? The way you smile at him. One of those number 2 special trembly ones.
Yes, I'm a soprano, and we flirt.
No, the left foot goes in the left foot, and the right foot goes in the right foot.
Dario mutter. Anyway, sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander.
What are you talking about?
The letters.
What letters?
Long ones. They. To a lady in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Now, if you were willing to give up these letters, I might be willing to give up my trembly smiles.
Jenny? Jenny, I want you to know, I'll never forget you.
It's been a lovely 6 months. Jag önskade att du drömmer om things. I want for you what you want for yourself.
That's a very kind wish, Jenny. Now all I gotta do is figure out exactly what it is I do want.
Well, at least we know what it isn't. This game of love amuses. Unless, of course, one loses. When do you think you'll be leaving?
Well, tonight's as good a time as any. Will you be all right?
I think so. I have a dinner engagement with the French ambassador. Wise men and fools playing a game, bend to the same sweet treason.
Have you seen the figures for St. Louis, Mr. Goldsmith? Sold out 2 months before she even hits town. I tell you, sir, I'm selling you a songbird that lays golden eggs.
Oh, I know that, Mr. Barnum. In fact, you might say that I knew that before you did.
Well, that's why I'm making you such a generous deal, sir. Just one proviso. If Miss Lind ever plays Bridgeport, you better not sell me any tickets. Done?
Done.
Love makes such fools of us.
Why, Charity Barnum, what are you doing here?
It came up heads, and I still think you're beautiful. My way this time, Taylor.
Your way.
Out of the main tent, away from the fairground, without the benefit of Kelly Green, Buttercup Yellow, or Cherry Red, the Bridgeport Grand Opera and Pageant Society presents P.T. Barnum as he lives his life in
Black and white, the future's rosy living. Black and white, keep both feet on the ground. Don't let those daydreams spin you round. See things the way they are. You're gonna tumble if you fly too far. Stay low and hold on tight. Live in black and white.
May the 7th, 1851. Day of days for Bridgeport's favorite son. Living Wales he sent to Hades, like 5 Swedish singing ladies. And the local prophets he will run.
What is this? Come on. Oh. Oh.
He could run across West Farnham Town. In 2 months he'd run it in the ground. Purchased then 500 shovels. Said men mustn't live in hovels. And in New Utopia I will found. Land a very modern model town. Elevated roads to stroll around. Roofs so high it makes you
Doggy, built on land a trifle. Doggy, so as it rose up, it started down. Black and white, he built a city that was black and white. The tower scraped the sky. The church was 7 stories high. Each brick so neatly styled, and only one of them was slightly cracked. A rock castle up would rise was the
Hey! No, it's not gonna stay there. It's not gonna stay there, Charlie. Black and white, oh yeah.
Barnum City fell down. What a fix. Nothing but a pile of broken bricks. Not to worry, not to care, sir, with your talent for hot air, sir.
What you ought to be in politics.
You can be an alderman.
No, wait.
No way. Congressman, I mean U.S.
Not stay.
Not stay.
There.
No, that's easy picking.
Set it off. What the dickens?
Why not head up presidential sleigh? Black and white. He played politics in black and white.
Here's my stand on women's rights and forum. Slavery in any form today. Taxes have to be increased to give to those who have the least. Tobacco I would ban is up to date. Hear what I'm saying? You hear me? I'm talking to you. People, are you listening to me? Cherry, I'm losing them. Unless you let me bring some color into this campaign, they're gonna beat me. You gotta release me from my promise.
Very well, then, Taylor. Go ahead. He's had his fill of living, black and white. So long, ta-ta, good night. Bye-bye, black and white. Outside the tent, after the show, behind the scenes, beneath the makeup.
Way up there, top of the hill.
Oh, Taylor, wait a minute.
What's the matter? You all right?
I just need to rest a moment.
It's that damn campaign. You're worn out. Come and sit down here.
On the steps of the city hall, it's illegal.
Yeah, well, I'll make that my first job as mayor. And all elected officials with beautiful wives are allowed to sit on the steps of the city hall as long as I'm in office. Take it easy now. Is that better?
Thank you very much, Mayor Barnum.
You're very, very welcome, Mrs. Barnum. Isn't that an impressive place?
It's the most respectable-looking building I've ever seen. And it belongs to you now.
Oh, Sally. You know, sitting here looking at that smiling face reminds me of the very first night I met you in that thunderstorm. I know you were frightened, but I just kept wishing there'd be more lightning so I could get another look at your face.
And I shut my eyes every time the lightning flashed, so I never did get a good look at you until we were standing at the altar. And by then it was too late.
What are you saying
Folks
to
are going to
me?
think we're foolish. Two old people sitting on these steps in the middle of the night holding hands.
Who says we're old? Well, I may have a few laugh lines, one or two gray hairs, but you don't look a day older than the day I met you.
I thought you were through with humbug.
22 or 3 at the most. That is the least humbugging thing I've ever said in my life.
Taylor, you're going to be wonderful at politics. Of course, I don't expect you to be mayor for more than one term. I've already got my eye on a Senate seat. Not the state Senate, either.
You're talking about Washington?
Heads say you can do it, Taylor.
Oh, come on now. You don't start tossing a coin on whether you run for the U.S. Senate. That takes pondering, contemplating, considering. And how come, in 25 years of tossing that coin, it never once came up tails, may I ask?
I guess fate is just on my side, Taylor. That and the fact that this quarter just happens to have 2 heads.
Saying to me? You stacked the deck on me, Charity Barnum?
I haven't been watching you for 25 years for nothing, Taylor.
All right. All right, I'll run for your damn Senate for you, because I love you and I'd do anything in this world to make you happy. But I am most displeased, Mrs. Barnum, most displeased. Look at that, both sides. Your own husband. Why are you smiling?
Everything's going to be all right. We're quarreling again.
Colors of my life are bountiful and bold, the purple glow of indigo, the gleam of green and gold, the splendor of a sunrise, the dazzle of a flash, the glory of a rainbow. I put 'em all to share. Your quiet browns and grays,
Your reds are much too bold.
I'll take my days instead.
Those I find nowhere.
Fill them till they overflow. With rose and cherry and if from by my side my love should roam,
Colors of my life shine a quiet light.
Cherry? Cherry?
On behalf of the party, Mr. Barnum, may I say how sorry we are.
She was standing beside me for so long. And right when we're on the threshold, I don't want you boys to worry none. Because during this campaign, I'm going to be stronger than ever. We worked a long time for this nomination. It's an election I don't plan on losing.
Mr. Barnum, I'm afraid there has been a slight postponement on your nomination.
What?
What Mr. Templeton is trying to say is that the party's position has changed. We're giving the nomination to Alexander Whitaker.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I've been barnstorming this past 6 months on the strength of the promise of this nomination.
The decision is out of our hands, Mr. Barnum, but in 4 years, you'll be a prime candidate.
I don't want the nomination in 4 years. I promised somebody I'd be in Washington in January. If I can't be there, then I don't want to be there at all. Good day, gentlemen.
But, Mr. Barnum,
Good day, gentlemen. Oh, they took me, Cherry. They took me. 6 months of making speeches, and to take that nomination away from me with a lie worse than any humbug I pulled on anyone in 35 years of fooling people. Oh. I thought I got it out of my life, but I haven't. Because it looks like if I don't humbug them, they're going to do worse to me. And tell me, Cherry, is humbugging so bad after all? Look at Abraham Lincoln. Back in 61, he was humbugged with a vision of a whole society of free and equal people. And that dream was strong enough to win him a war. Well, not that I'm comparing four-headed frogs and live mermaids with the Gettysburg Address. You got to admit that somewhere way down deep there's got to be a connection. How do you like that? 2 minutes up here on a soapbox already, I'm convinced I'm second cousins with Abraham Lincoln. Oh, darn it, Cherry, don't that prove it? At humbugging, I'm the best there is. The Prince of Humbug. Balderdash, fiddle faddle, dribble tosh, twiddle twaddle, blather bosh, bilge and dodge and double dutch and flim flam. I am the king of hogwash. Tommy Rot, jibber jabber, blabber bluff, hocus pocus, gabble guff, scam and sham, and just a touch of white lie am I. Duke of tripe and idle chat, Earl of oil, Lord of black, Emperor of rigmarole, that I am, bless my soul. The Prince of Humbug, poppycock, piffle waffle patter-junk, hokum hooey patter-bunk, wile and guile and trumpery, that's me. Oh, don't worry, Cherry, I'm not going to go back into the exhibition business. What I was thinking was, maybe I go on a lecture tour, tell the whole country about the noble art of humbug. After all, it's what I'm best at. It's what God gave me the gift for. It's given me everything I ever had, Cherry. Even you. In a world of sting and shock, this moment we spend. Down a road of ridge and rock toward Lord knows what end. Through a night as dark as space and cold as the sea. Someone's gotta make it bright, shoot a rocket, shine a light, tell you that someone's gonna be the Prince of Humbug. Tongue-in-cheek, shilly-shally, full of wool, baloney, bogus, cock and bull, hoax, prank, hanky-pank, and some skullduggery. I am, and damn,
main event, the greatest contest of them all. P.T. Barnum, unarmed, without a net, and alone in a fight to the finish struggle with destiny. Bailey is the name, Mr. Barnum, and I'm here for my 3:30 appointment.
Well, Mr. Bailey, I've given the matter a great deal of thought, sir. And I'm afraid the answer is no.
But I sent you the plans and the photographs last week. Didn't you get a chance to look at them?
I saw the pictures, yes, and your menagerie looks very good. But I've been out of the exhibition business for years now, sir. I've been doing lecture tours. Of course, if you wouldn't mind a little advice.
No, I would welcome it.
Well, you've got to hook your attractions to the mood of the nation, sir. Now, it's 1880, right? And with Grant and the White House, we're widening our horizons, broadening our outlooks. See, your circus looks good, but it's too small. You need, what I like, 10 elephants, 20 clowns, acrobats, bareback riders, fat ladies, a whole family of jugglers, 6 up on the high wire.
Impossible. You can't get all those acts into one ring.
Then you put 2 more rings on either side. You have a band of 40 pieces, whole separate tent for sideshows. Not to mention grandstands that you can put up and take down to see 5,000 people. You have a train with 2 locomotives, 60 cars, and enough canvas that you can put the entire Crystal Palace inside. And still have room left over to fly a kite.
The Crystal Palace? Mr. Barnum, I hope I'm not being humbug.
Mr. Bailey, whatever gave you that idea?
Well, it does sound good the way you tell it, but I need your help.
Sorry, sir. My answer's no.
But I need you. And the circus needs you. When the Florida doctor gave you till you're cold to the grip. When a stitch to say none others comes apart with a rip. When the rats invade your attic and start leaving your ship. Follow my tip, come away on a trip and join the circus like you wanted to when you were a kid. Climb aboard before it moves on and you'll thank your lucky stars you did. Go to bed in Minneapolis, wake up in PA. Pack your roll, your brush and your comb again, ready to roam again, ready to stray. Bless your soul, you'll never go home again when the circus comes your way.
Of course, sir, if you please.
Step on them, sir.
Why don't you try the Sells Brothers? They're always looking to help people.
When you're touching your trousers and a hole in your purse. When your 9 to 5 is boring and your fighting at work. When your season's messy, you wish you had a bird. Stop all the fun, put your shirt on your shirt.
Just join the circus like you wanted to when you were so high. Fix your troubles under a tent and you're bound to lose them by and by. Say so long to fashion and to the rich, sweet Santa Fe. Toss your hat and head in the sack again. Show your pack and then pitch up the shade. Kiss the cat and never look back again. When the circus comes your way.
I'm too old for all this. I'm going out west. I'm retiring. The answer's still no.
When the lady you've been courting, where's your brother instead? When he's only give you 30 days on water and bread. When your bank account's $1 million, but it's all in the red. Don't lose your head, pin your slow to the bed. I joined the circus like I wanted to when I was a kid. Climbed aboard before it was on, and you bet your life I'm glad I did. Went to bed in Minneapolis, woke up in PA. Packed my roll, my brush and my comb again, ready to roam again, ready to stray. concert, the greatest show on earth. When the circus comes your way. Center ring, a princely final attraction, Mr. Phineas Taylor Barnum himself.
Of course, that was a long time ago. And Joyce Heth is gone and forgotten. So is the American Museum.
a great white whale. Dear Jenny Lind, and my poor Tom Thumb. George Washington, just a memory. And then Pilgrim Fathers that came over on the Mayflower. They've all gone to dust. And my kind of humbug has disappeared. There was a sucker born every minute. Each time that second hand swept to the top, like dandelions, up they pop. Their ears so big, their eyes